Shabbat Shalom, awesome tribes of Israel. This is Rabbi Simon Altaf HaKohen. Okay, good. So we are on for Shabbat this morning, and our Parsha this morning. Let me just have a double check on our Parsha. Is Parsha's Reah. I think everybody can hear me fine. That is great. I have quite a few things to cover, little things, but they're very, very important things. I was going to give you a little story, and which I might still give you a story. But before I give you the story, I'm going to give you the joke of the week. So let's kickstart that. So this joke is about little Bob who goes to church with his mom every Sunday. One morning in the middle of the service, Bob complained that he was feeling a bit queasy and was afraid he was going to puke. "No problem, dear," whispered his mom in his ear. "Just head on over to the bathroom on the rear side of the church and take care of it there." 30 seconds later, Bob came back. "Did you go to the bathroom?" questioned his mom. "No need," responded Bob. "Right outside the door was a big box with a sign next to it for the sick, so I just did it in there." Okay, so that's great. Let's see. Now, I'm thinking that what I should do is today, let's see if you're all present. What I might do is I might take you through I kind of devised this meditation run, and it's really, really good, and I actually use it myself, and I've already given Rabbi Kefa a copy of it, but I think it might be worth me putting this out today publicly, and it might be very useful for all of you to have it. So some of you, may already have heard about it, and what I might do is I may run through it, and it's my 7-phase meditation. It's very, very powerful, and it's something that I highly, highly recommend that you do every day in the morning as part of your daily get up and go, because this will really fire you up. This is like the next level to fire you up to level 2, because as I said, level 1, most people in the world are at level 1, where they're in the victim mentality. I'm a victim, life is happening to me, everybody's against me, I can't get anywhere, and so they don't get nowhere in life, and life really does happen to them, in the sense that every bad thing that they can conceive is happening to them. So they are what I term is unconsciously incompetent. Basically, they are creating things in their life, they're bringing things into their reality which they are blaming everybody else for, but they are the ones to blame themselves for those kind of things. So the level 2, where some of the people like you are going to be in, is where you now know that you have the ability to change your life. And this is something that not many people understand, because 90% of the world out there is still at level 1, victim mentality. And because you're now at level 2 would be where you know that you can create for yourself, you can create your life as you want it. You can change your life, you can bring in good jobs, you can bring in happiness, you can bring in good relationships, wealth, all sorts of things can happen to you. So now you could be at a stage where life is actually happening for you, not to you. So this is where you're going to be at level 2. Now there are, of course, there are higher levels than that, and but I want to give you a little story of my life, where I actually was at level 2 many years ago, where I once, when I was a fighter, like an amateur taekwondo fighter, and one day, there was a championship. It was like a county championship, and I went to this county championship. It was a big tournament, and I was just this little unknown fighter over there. Nobody knew me at that point as a fighter, and I had already been working on myself quietly in the background, and this is what I've been visualizing. Let me tell you, actually, I've been doing that in my fighting life. And I was visualizing that I go to this tournament and I'm going to fight and I'm going to knock this person out, and it's going to be a big upset. And so anyhow, I was kind of doing this, and I used to play a music. There was a particular music that I really liked, and I used to play it, and I used to just sit there, and I used to visualize that I'm fighting, and I'm kicking, and I'm punching, and I kick this person, and he goes flying outside the ring, and that's the end of the fight. So anyhow, so I used to think like that, and I was like, I'm going to do this. So this was my big break to make myself known. And this person who nobody knew, and so what happened one day, my coach says, okay, we got this championship and such and such date, you got to be there. So okay, no worries. So I go over there at the championship, and then I face one of the toughest teams in England, and these guys were known as bad nuts, from Slough. And he tells me, my coach, is also my friend at the time, he tells me, he says, these guys, they are very tough guys, and they are well known for their tough fighting, and they are very rude as well, and they are very proud. He says, you got to take this guy out, but you got to take him out fast. Don't give him a chance. So I said, okay. And so I come in the ring, and the other guy comes. He was a Englishman, as a young guy. I was kind of young myself at the time. So we come up in the fight. This guy, right, who knows? Simon Altaf is unknown, over there. Nobody knows me. I'm just like somebody, who's, in this little town that's unknown. Unknown town, unknown man. So I go into the ring and I fight. And I remember I've been practicing in my visualization at home. And I've been training as well. I've been doing my training. I've been doing my visualization, both together. So I come in the ring, and this man, starts to go around, and he starts to throw his kicks and punches at me. And whilst I'm ducking and diving, and then out of the blue, now I'm totally on automatic now. It's totally automatic remote, on auto remote. So I'm on auto control. I tell myself, this fight, you're going to take this man out, and that'll be the end of that. So as he's fighting, right in the middle of it, and I don't even remember how I did it, because it just happened automatically. As he came closer, he was so close to me that I took a step back and I did a spinning crescent kick, like I spun around, and I hit him flat on with my foot so hard he went flying out of the ring, and two of his teeth broke. He went unconscious. Boom! Everybody was silent in the ring. Everybody was shocked. What just happened? Who is this guy who just knocked this other guy out? And that was the end of that fight. Fortunately for me, that was when I made my first name known in England, and everybody was like, who is this guy? His name is Altaf. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? And from this little town that nobody even heard of. And my goodness, then our little town, Aylesbury, became absolutely famous in all of England. Everybody feared, right, Aylesbury. They said, oh, there's this fighter in Aylesbury, he just knocked the socks out of this guy. And then ambulance people were sitting there, there was the ambulance have to be there in all the tournaments. They took this man away, and I later learned that he had actually broken two of his teeth. His lip was torn apart. He had 2 stitches on his lips. My goodness, it was really badly damaged. To be honest, I didn't really feel sorry for him at all, because they were all proud. They had a guy there who was so tall. He was like 6'7" tall, a black guy, and he was like a menace, like people feared him. So I was like, I don't fear you. You could come as well, I'll knock you out as well. So I was like, I don't fear you either. And he was like looking at me, he didn't know what to say. He just didn't know this Goliath, right? He was a Goliath of a man, didn't know what to say. But these guys were so angry, right? They're like, who is this guy who came out of nowhere? But my point is this, and I'm telling you the power of visualization and training as well together. Because I was reading about an experiment that a sports guy did, a sports coach did in America. What they did, they took some people and they put them together, and they said, okay, you're going to do 100% training. They split the teams into 4 groups. They said, you're just going to do training. and we're going to measure your performance on just solid physical training. Then they took another group and they said, you're going to do 75% training and 25% visualization of how well you're going to do. Then they took another group and they said, you're going to do 50% training and 50% visualization. So they split this group up into 3 groups, and possibly even 4. And then what they did, they measured them afterwards for performance of how well. These were Olympic athletes, all of them were Olympic stars, and they then measured them who did the best. And you know what the result was? The people who had done 50% training and 50% visualization came out tops in the whole group. So they proved that visualization to do something works better if you actually do the other bit with it, then it works even better. So my point that you could say at that time, I was physically doing it. I wasn't doing it incompetently, but I was doing it. But I don't know why I was doing it, but I realized there was something in it. Back then in England, I realized there was something in visualizing it, and I was doing it. Now, another story, about 30 years ago, I had a couple of accidents in England where my car skid. I was like driving in the morning and the car just skid on ice. Like it was black ice, and it just went slide and hit a lamppost or something. Didn't hit a car, hit a lamppost. And the car wasn't damaged that much. But I thought to myself, at that point, 30 years ago, I said to myself, I'm going to train myself. I'm going to train myself that my car will never have an accident again this way. And I'm going to put my body into auto control. Exactly the same thing I did with my competition. I had already done it earlier, you see, because I knew about it. So what I did, I started to train myself for auto control. I said, if I'm driving my car, I'm going to go auto control. I don't care if I fall asleep. My car's never going to go off the road, and my car's never going to hit another car, and I'm going to prevent an accident, and I'm going to prevent my car from falling into a ditch or whatever. So when I started to practice that, and I started to visualize for that, and I started to practice it right in my car, that my car is going and I'm preventing these accidents and I'm preventing my car going off the road. And I practiced it so well, this practice 30 years ago, that I can tell you today, it's been 30 years, I've never had an accident. My car has never gone off the road, I've never had an accident, and I've never had skid on my car again. And not only that, but the important thing is this. When I came to America 4 years ago, in 2015, I have driven a lot longer in America than I have ever done in England. I have been driving 24 hours round the clock without, the only stops I made were to get gas. I didn't stop to sleep, I didn't stop to do anything else, but I only stopped to get gas or go to the bathroom, and that was about the only stops I did. 24 hours, I've driven in America 24 hours straight, 26 hours straight. And I've never gone off the road. I've never fallen asleep. I've never skidded. I've never, kind of like veered into a field, because I've been doing these long drives state to state. And the reason for that is a simple reason that the practice I did those 30 years ago, that's the same practice that came and helped me. And there were a couple of times that I may have just been my eyes are going to close because I'm feeling a little tired, but then boom, my auto control comes in, and I get alert immediately that I'm not going to go off the road because I'm supposed to be taking care of the car. So that's basically what happened. And I gave this technique to Jennifer. Jennifer is in the room. I gave it to her. I said, this is a technique that I want you to apply. When you're driving, you put yourself in auto control, but this is how you're going to do it. So I explained to her how she needs to do it. And Jennifer reported back to me that she applied the technique. But I told her, you need to do it while you're driving. This technique must be applied when you're driving, and then you train yourself while you're driving. You can't do it sitting down on a couch. So she said, okay. So she tried it, and she told me, she said, the technique that you gave me, it works. She said, I was driving, and as I was driving, I was pulling away, and I was on this road, and this little kid or somebody just kind of came into the road suddenly, and she said, automatically, boom, I braked. I stopped and I didn't hit that kid. Otherwise, if I was maybe in my normal self mode, in other mode, I would have definitely knocked that kid out. So this is something that's very, very powerful. So my point is that a lot of you people out there, on the internet, and some maybe people in the room as well, are probably still struggling. You know, you don't even know how to write your affirmations, maybe. Maybe you're struggling how to put something together. So this is where, as Rabbi Kefa has told you many times over, and I'm going to say it one more time, that you should just come to me if you're not sure of how to write your affirmation. If you don't know how to put it together, you should just ask, and I could assist you, because, you know, I'm well versed in these things. And I've been practicing this for over 20 years now. This is not something I just started. It's not something I just know now. I've been practicing this unconsciously and consciously for over 20 years. And this all started for me with a tape that I picked up from a newspaper ad years ago. There was this little newspaper ad about this sea waves tape that said, hey, listen to the sea waves, it'll make your life, you know, you make your life abundant. And I got this little tape. It was a little cassette, and I was listening to it, and all it had was sea sounds in it. And I was like, so these sea sounds are supposed to make you better. And then I listened to it, and then what I did, I made a copy of that tape, and I gave it to my younger brother. And I said, listen to this tape. Apparently it's supposed to make you rich if you listen to it. He listened to it for, I don't know how long he listened, but he listened to it a couple of times. He goes, what, these sea waves are supposed to make me rich? He laughed, and I said, yes, they're supposed to make you rich. Listen to it seriously. So, and then, you know, I just left it at that. But that was the beginning of my life when I came first into this information, and I hadn't actually come into understanding how this all hangs together, you know, how our minds work, how we connect back to God. I didn't know any of that till at that point, but then it was like the beginning of the journey that I understood. Oh yeah, I will tell you about the fountain as well. I'll tell you about something else too. Something else that I did in my home, and something else that you will need to think about and put in your home. This is something I did consciously, by the way, more than 20 years ago. I have a practice in my life. There are certain practices that I do, and I don't care where I live, and I don't care whose house I go and stay in. I always do those practices. You know, if I'm going to be at any particular property for a particular amount of time, especially if I'm over there for 30 days or more, I will do that. Of course, as you know, that the commandment for us is to put the mezuzah on the door, you know, put the 10 commandments on the door. I will always do that. If I'm going to be at a place more than 30 days, I carry these things with me and I put them up. But if you're going to be under 30 days, then of course, you know, there's no need to do it. Especially if you're living in a hotel for, you know, 5 days or 7 days, you're not going to do it in a hotel. But what I tend to do is I have a certain few symbols that I carry with me. I'm not going to speak about all those symbols, but they're kind of part and parcel of who I am as a person. But what I do is I always put a wind chime in my home. Always. I always have done it, and I'll probably do it till the last day I live on this earth. The wind chime is something that you're supposed to put in your homes, and that is supposed to bring good energy into your house. Now the wind chimes that you can put outside your yard, and I have it in my Pensacola home, it should be a metal wind chime, ideally. And it should be on the north side of your house. And that will bring in abundance, and that will bring in wealth, and that will bring in good energy into your homes. That's something that you must think about and must put into action. Second thing, you can actually put a wooden wind chime. Some people put wooden wind chimes, but then if you're going to put a wooden wind chime, make sure to put that under a tree, you know, tree to tree, wood to wood. Has to be hanging on a tree or close by. But if you're going to put a metal wind chime, do not put this under a tree. Do not put it under a tree, but put it like maybe, you know, under the ledge of a door, or maybe there's a little stand over there, or an arch or something, so you can put it on an arch. That's very, very important. And try not to put wind chimes inside the house, because, you know, you want the wind to move it, and the wind will move it and create that sound, and the wind will create the energy, and the energy will come back into your homes. That's very, very important with the wind chime. Second thing, the fountain, the power of the fountain energy. I did a test in this home where I am. As you know, this is not my home in Ohio. I came to Ohio, and I'm here for a certain while. And I did a test over here with the rods to see what the energy of the house is, and if there is any negativity in the house. And I found at least 1, 2, possibly 3 spots that were, 4 spots actually, that were negative. Listen to this and listen very carefully, because this I'm going to give you now a factual story. I won't name names, but I'll just give you a factual story. The person who's the owner of this house, I asked that person, because the very spot they sat on had a negative spot, where the energy was draining. And the bathroom where they had their bath had a negative spot right in the bath. So I asked the person, I said, a question. Has this, I said, let me tell you what this energy can do, then let me ask you if this has actually happened to you in your life. I said, this energy will drain your finances, and this can bring on illnesses to the head of the household, because obviously this person is the head of the household. So I said, have you experienced that your energy being drained in the sense of money going out of your life, wrong decisions being made, and you making decisions that have affected you negatively? And she told me, she said, yes, I have made decisions that have been negatively affected me, and you're absolutely right that this has affected me negatively. So I said, okay, so now what we've got to do, we've got to fix this, because if we don't fix this, this is going to continue to affect you. So I fixed those negative areas. Once I fixed those areas, I retested them, and there was no more negativity there. Then what I did, I bought a fountain, and I put it in the home, facing it inside the house, facing it southeast of the house, as I instructed you to put it in the southeast. And so once I did that, I let the fountain run for a couple of days, and then I did a test on the energy level. How is the energy that's coming in from the earth? And I did the energy test, and I was amazed, because the energy had increased quite a bit around the room. Where the fountain was, and all around the room, the rods were telling me that the energy is actually increased. The rods were actually going apart quite a bit. Before they'll just be like in the center, then they were going apart, which means that there's more energy coming to the house as a result of the fountain. That's very, very important. Now, I want to tell you something else. The very place where I sit, I'm sitting on a couch right now, and the very place where I sit, even though the house had negative energy spots, but where I sat, the spots were positive energy, and the rods were, going apart. They were like pushing apart, and I was like, wow, that's interesting, isn't it? So where I'm sitting, even though the house has some negative energy spots, where I'm sitting, there's no negative energy spot. So, very important thing that I learned from this exercise is that negative energies do affect you if they're in your home, but you may be that by chance that you didn't sit where the negative energy was, then you may not be affected as much. But I will tell you one thing. If there is a negative energy spot in your home, it will affect you financially, and it will affect you with your health, because you will get certain things coming on, and you will have problems, and you'll be like, what's going on? I'm eating right, I'm doing the right thing, I'm exercising, but why am I getting these problems? Maybe you're getting the current flu, or maybe you're getting the current illness, maybe you're getting the current fever. So these are things that the earth energy comes up. And let me tell you something else of interest, which is absolutely mind-boggling. I sit at a spot here in the house, and directly above me, there's another spot in the house that was negative. Guess what? Where I sat, the earth energy has to rise up into the upstairs rooms. Yet, there was no negativity in the downstairs spot where I sat, and there was negativity in the upstairs spot where I didn't sit. So, try to figure that one out. And so I had to do a cure for the upstairs spot and got rid of the negativity there. My point is this, that a Kohen, when he sets foot in a house, now I'm going to say this maybe I don't know if I've said this before, but wherever a Kohen sets foot, the house will bring in positive energy. There will be blessings in that house. I could walk past a street, and that street will be blessed. I guarantee it. So this is the power of this is the anointing that God gives a Kohen. That is what the purpose of the Kohen is. A Kohen could be living in a country, and the whole country will be blessed. A whole city will be blessed. A whole city will be protected. But again, you see, these things don't happen with a certificate on your name. These things happen because this is something that God does. This is something that's not in my control. This is in the control of the Almighty Creator, the God of Israel. So He does that, and so therefore I know this, that the people I have been to, the homes I have touched, their lives have changed. They have been blessed tremendously. So this is again why we don't take these things lightly. We take these things seriously, that we have to check our energy, our energy levels in our homes. We have to make sure there's no negativity spots, and we also have to make sure that we put the right things in our homes. This is why I said that you need to put a fountain in your home to increase the level of energy. Now, Rabbi Kefa told me that he's going to build a fountain outside his house as well, in the yard. So I told him, if you do build a fountain outside your yard, make sure, or if any of you want to build it, make sure that your fountain points, the water drop points inside towards the house, so that it brings in energy into the house rather than taking energy out of the house. That's another important element. I spoke about an elephant last week. I said we'll speak about it next week. So the elephant story is this, that our King Solomon, he was one of the richest men in the world at the time he lived. And he, by the way, you probably already know this, that he had a zoo. And he also had elephants in his zoo. So notice this, that why would the richest man in the world, he wasn't the richest man when he had the zoo, he became rich over time. But he put the right elements at the right spots, at the right places. Hence why King Solomon was the richest man. In other words, he, was worth all that money because he knew how to make placements of things. And he learned that from his forefathers. It didn't come to him automatically. God gave him wisdom, of course, as he asked for wisdom. And he used the wisdom to better his life, his finances, his kingdom. He had a peaceful kingdom. And so it's very important. Luxury class is saying that experts today estimate that King Solomon's worth was around $2 trillion by today's worth. And it probably was, because he had a lot of gold, and we are told that at his time, copper was worth nothing. It was just, it's so cheap, there was so much of it, it was so cheap that they didn't even place a value on copper. But he had a lot of gold. And there was a lot of wealth that his father, King David, left him, because his father wanted to build a temple for the, for the God of Israel. And so he actually left him all sorts of things. He had already commissioned where wood is going to come from, where gold will come from, where copper will come from, and he already made plans for that. And so he left him a lot before he departed from this earth. And then King Solomon simply followed that, as he was trying to build this temple for the God of Israel. He just did what he was supposed to do as a son to his father. He followed his father's footsteps. He was a good son, and he did what was right for him. Everything the father told him, he did, which is great, because we see that in our biblical history, what King Solomon did and didn't do. So my point is this, that what you're taking away from here are the things that I'm telling you. They're not mumbo jumbo, legendary, or something that might not work or might work. Now, these are things that 100% work, and you got to apply them, and you got to do them, and they will take you to the next level in your life. You can have all the religion in the world, but if your lives don't change, what's the point of that nonsensical religion? People go to churches for 50 years of their life. I have met people who went to church 50 years, but when you look at their life, there's no change. It's the same. So why waste 50 years of your life in a place where you're not actually being edified or built? That's something that every individual needs to ask themselves. I'm not saying churches are bad places, but I'm just saying that if it doesn't edify you, if it doesn't build you, if it doesn't change your life, then there needs to be a question asked. What am I getting out of this? Is it really for me? So that's where you're not going to get anywhere from churches. And this is why I don't tell you don't go to church, because look, some of you had asked me privately, can I go to church? And I said yes. And sure, luxury class, of course it's okay. And so my point is that I never stopped you from going to church. When somebody asked me, they said, hey, my mom wants to take me to church. She says, come to church with me on Sunday because of whatever reason. And I said, go with your mom. If your mom wants to take you, go with your mom to church. I never said don't go. Because if that's your mother's desire and wish, then you can go and sit with her. But you're not going to get anything out of it. You might fall asleep, but that's another thing. So this is my point, right, is that, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of sermon, 10 minutes of hymns and cup of tea afterwards. If that's what you want out of church, then fair enough. You go to church, you get a little social gathering, and that's all it is at the end of the day, a little social gathering. You actually get nothing out of it. You might feel a little bit good. You might drop a tear or two when you sing those hymns. Oh, poor Jesus, he died on the cross, blah, blah, blah. And, you come out, feeling sorry for Jesus. Well, Jesus don't feel sorry for himself doing that, but you all feel sorry for him, going to the church and crying about him. Even to this day, people do that. Kind of nonsensical approach. But Jesus did not lay his life for people to cry over it. Jesus actually laid some very fundamental principles. And those principles meant something, but I don't think people have actually quite caught on to those principles yet. Yet, some of the other Gentiles, they actually have caught on to those principles. That Jesus laid some fundamental principles for success. And we must follow those. See, the Gentiles have clued on to those, whereas the churchgoers are still stuck in their little tear. Oh, poor Jesus. Oh, look at him hanging on the cross. They're still crying about it. So, that's basically where they are. Jesus is still on the cross for them. So, having said that, let's go our next forward, and I'm going to bring you a passage of King Solomon, and I'm going to give you something out of King Solomon's book, Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon says, "Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom." What does it actually mean? Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom. Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15, quoted straight out of the Bible. What does it actually mean? Well, the little foxes and our vineyards are in bloom. This is all about your imagination. This is all about your lives, all about your abundance. King Solomon is saying, do not allow other people, he calls them little foxes, do not allow them to ruin your vineyards. In other words, you're trying to achieve something in your life, and it happened to me, by the way, and I was very sturdy, and I was very tough, and I was very, very stubborn and very, very determined. Because people will say to me, hey, you're 29 years old. You're 30 years old. You're going to go to university now? Are you crazy? At 30 years, you're going to go to school? You're going to go to university? They would say to me, your university age is over. At 23, your university age is over. And I'll look at their faces and I'll laugh and I would say, get away from me and don't ever say that again. Because I do not receive your negative comments and I do not believe what you say because you're talking rubbish and I don't believe it for a second. And I said, as for me, I will succeed and I will succeed greatly. So I was absolutely determined that I was going to succeed. And sometimes people will say to me, hey, you're going to be competing with 23-year-old coming out of university with a degree. And you're going to get a degree at 30-something. And you're going to be competing with 20-something years old, 10 years, junior than you. How are you going to compete? And I used to say, I used to laugh and say, you don't know me. I'm not going to compete. I'm going to be ahead of them. I said, I'm going to be ahead of the pack. I'm going to lead. I'm not going to follow. So exactly like that it happened when I was in university. My friends, they used to joke and laugh at me, and they'll say to me that, Simon, you're going to do this, you're going to follow this through, and how's it going to work? Because, you're going to be having maybe prejudice in jobs because your age is slightly more than the others, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say to my friend, there's one friend I had, he's in Dubai nowadays, he works over there for a WorldCom, and he would say to me, how would you cope with this? And I would say, no problem. His name's Ibrahim as well in Dubai. I say to Ibrahim, that, what I'm going to do? I'm just going to be ahead of the pack. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. I said, by the time you come out, I said, you will be still looking for a job, and I'll be probably on twice the salary you are. I said, I'll be on twice the salary. And he laughed, he said, we've said to me, he said, you're a jammy git. He will say to me, you're a jammy git, and I think you are going to get there as well. You're not going to stop. So, he came out. I was in a job working for a stockbroker in London. He came out of his sandwich degree after 4 years of study. And because I dropped out of university, I didn't even complete my degree. So when he comes out, he meets me, he says, well, how's things? I said, things are great. Well, what is your salary? I think I was at around $65,000 salary at that time. I said, well, how's your salary? He goes, well, I've only started on about, $27,000 salary. I said, what's your salary? I said, twice more than what you're earning. And he's like, my goodness. He goes, I said, remember what we had this conversation? Remember 3 years ago we had this conversation. And I said to you that I'm going to be ahead of the pack and I'm going to be earning twice that you're earning. He said, yeah, I remember it. He says, yeah, you definitely lived your word. You definitely did what you said. So my point is this, that I already had a grasp of how to, be successful and how to get ahead of the pack, because I was determined. When I went into a position, I went into a position with strength, not with weakness. I didn't say to myself, oh, is it going to happen? It's not going to happen. It's going to happen. Not going to happen. No, I went in determined. I am a winner. That's it. I'm going to win and I'm going to do good, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no second option for me. This is the only option I have. Straight away, winning option. There's no such thing as a losing option for me. So I'd go with that kind of attitude, and I would then put myself to the necessaries. If I had to study, I would study. If I had to do something, I'd do something, but I would follow it through. So hence why my point is that today, I refined over the years, I learned, I read, I studied, I practiced, I did everything, and I learned and I refined it. I refined it to a fine art where it could become really good. So hence why, there is a similar type of meditation on the internet, and I was inspired to make this meditation from an Indian guy who made a meditation in the 6th phase. His name is Vishen Likhiani, and he made this meditation, and I was inspired by him to make my 7th phase meditation. I said, I'm going to make a 7th phase instead, because he made his meditation for the Joe Blogs, everybody else out there, people who don't believe in God and people like that, or maybe they believe in God, maybe they don't. I was like, you know what? I have a very firm belief that we serve the God of Israel, and I'm not going to go around pretending that there is no God or something like that. So my meditation is for us, is for our people who want to see it, use it, and put it to the test, and they will receive ample benefit out of it. So I decided with this 7-phase meditation that I call mine, which is obviously inspired by my, friend. You can call him a friend if you like, or teacher if you like. I kind of have listened to some of his teachings on YouTube. He's a good guy, but he's very similar to me. The story he was presenting about his taekwondo. He was in taekwondo as well when he was training in his youth, and he spoke about him going to the tournament in the USA where he actually got knocked out. So I was like laughing. I said, well, thankfully I'm not, in that kind of. I did go to a tournament as well, not one but many, but actually knocked people out instead of getting knocked out. So I was like, well, there's something in common between us. He also studied taekwondo. So having said that, I think it's a good idea for me to, take you through this today, so you can relax. If you're sitting on your couches, sit down, relax, close your eyes, whatnot, and we're gonna kind of run this through and see if we can do this, so you can maybe learn something new. And what I will do is afterwards, I will let me find this, because I've got to find my 7th phase. So I got my full. Give me a moment. 7th phase. Now let me just see, where is it? Because I've got to. This is a 7th phase meditation, and I want you to relax, and I want you to close your eyes, but don't close your eyes yet, because I'm just looking for it. I can't find it right now. I can't find it. So it's called 7th phase meditation, and I'm looking for it. Okay, so I'm ready to go, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to breathe in, gently breathe in, and then you breathe out, and we're going to kick start it, okay? And then I'm going to take you through it, but I will have this as a separate audio session that I can send it out free with the music and without music. I have both of them. So let's kick start it, and let's do it. Relax, relax, because it's the Shabbat. It's a great time to do this, and you can do this in the mornings or in the evenings. So absolutely no problem. Close your eyes. I want you to relax. Breathe in deeply. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. I want you to imagine that you are encompassed in a white light. A white light all around you. You're sitting down, this is all around you. Next, you're going to introduce love and compassion into this white light that is surrounding you like a shell surrounding you. You're going to introduce love and compassion into there, and you can give it the color red if you like. Feel compassion and love within yourself with this white light with the color red inside it. And suddenly the whole room that you are sitting is encompassed in this white light with compassion and love. It spreads. And now the whole house is encompassed in this white light with the red, with love and compassion. Then the whole block is covered, city block. After that, the whole city is covered with this light of love and compassion. You're sending it to all your city. Then the whole country where you are is encompassed in this white light with the red love and compassion. And next you picture the planet Earth, and the whole planet is covered with this light and love. The whole planet is encompassed. You're connected to all the creatures on this planet. You're connected to everybody else. You're giving your love and light and compassion. Now we're going to move on to phase 2. I want you to think about at least 1 to 3 things that happened for you in the recent past. Maybe in the last few days, maybe in the last few months, that you're really, really grateful for. And it could even be that you had a really nice meal last night, and you were really grateful for that. That you could actually use that and bring that feeling into yourself for these things. You could give thanks for something that happened a few days ago in your life. Maybe you met somebody in a new relationship. Maybe you did a new business relationship. Or it could be something as small as you're going to a coffee store like a Starbucks and you're having a coffee, or maybe even at McDonald's. Or you go to a tea store, you go to a tea shop, a corner shop a cafe where you had a nice cup of tea, and you're thinking about it and you're bringing that feeling into yourself. You give thanks for it. Gratitude. Once you've done it, I want you to think about the career, business, or if you're in school, think about your education that you're in, that you're grateful for. Give thanks for it. If you're a student in a university or school, you can think about the assignments and the projects that you're doing and that you're grateful for doing those projects. And bring those feelings back to yourself right now of how happy you feel. And you're going to bring in 1 to 3 things after this that you really love about yourself. And you congratulate yourself for that. It could be a feeling of pride for what you did. It could be a feeling of thankfulness for something that you did in the recent past, and you feel happy about it, for you having the ability to do it. So you create the exact emotions that you felt when you did that something. Maybe you helped an old lady cross a road. Maybe you helped somebody who was struggling. Maybe something else. Could be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that occurred recently. It could be something that occurred 6 months ago, maybe even a year ago, and you bring that feeling to your present self. Next, phase 3. This is where you may actually be carrying a charge, a resistance in your body for people that have wronged you, and you're still feeling upset about it. And here, it doesn't it doesn't have to be the worst thing that happened to you. It could be something mild. It could be something terrible that happened to you. It's like sometimes when people go through a divorce, they go through a breakup, they go through a court case, they are holding an animosity about the other people. So those people are the ones you're going to summon. You're going to summon them into your present sense, and they're going to come right in front of you. If it's a single individual, they're going to come right in front of you, and you're going to lay the charge sheet. You're going to lay the charge sheet in front of this person, and you're going to tell this person that this you did wrong to me, and I was very, very upset. And you're going to feel that upset. You're going to feel it. I'm very angry. I was very upset when you did that to me. And then you're going to, after you read the charge sheet, you read the charge sheet to them, and you say that you shouldn't have done this, but you did it, and you affected my life, and my life went topsy-turvy, and I was very upset. But now I'm going to forgive you for what you have done. So you forgive that person right there and then. And once you forgive them, there may be elements of it that you might feel that you didn't do nothing wrong, but you have to do the reverse as well. You have to also say to the person that if I did something wrong, then I want you to forgive me. And then what you're going to do at that point, you're going to now put yourself in the perspective of this person, of why they did it. If somebody was a bully to somebody else, maybe they were a bully to somebody else because they were bullied themselves. If there was psychological abuse or physical abuse, maybe because they were abused themselves. So you have to bring those feelings to understand, why did the person do this? Could it be because they themselves were abused? So you're going to have those feelings to know, okay, there would have been reasons, because hurting people hurt others. So you've got to understand that. And once you understand it, and then what you can do, you can go to them in your vision, and you can, pat them on the back or shake hands or say something and tell them to go in peace, that you are now clear with them. You do not hold any more animosity against them. So continue to breathe normally, have this light still, and the compassion and the love. Now remember that this would have made you a better person from this ordeal. You came out a better person, a better man, or a better woman. So continue to breathe and be still. Keep breathing. Continue to feel compassion, continue to feel love for the rest of the planet. Now you let your charges go. You no longer have charges in your body for anybody. Now we move on to phase 4. Now you're going to go into the future. With phase 4 is where you're going to go maybe 3 years into the future, and you're going to think about your life, where your life is going to be in the future. Maybe you're going to build a nice business, a career. Maybe you're going to become a doctor, or you're going to get a degree. Whatever it is that you have set for yourself, buy a house, you're going to become a parent, you're going to get married and have children. All these things could be something in the future. Or maybe you're somebody who's going to set up a charitable institution to help people. Or you're going to thinking about contributing into your society in some way. And how you're going to help your community. These are all projects that you're thinking about that's going to happen to you in the future. And what you want to think about is, if everything was in your favor, tremendous luck, God gave you tremendous luck and everything went into your favor, everything clicked in the right places, and you were able to achieve all of this that you're desiring. That's where you want to place yourself. So what would your life look like in 3 years' time? Imagine that and bring that into yourself presently, that how would you feel in 3 years? That's going to be you. How do you feel right now? Everything went well. You got your house, you got your wife, you got your husband, you did everything good, you got your business, and everything is beautiful. Now we move on to phase 5. Bring your awareness back where you are. Present tense. To the right now. Now you're going to see how your day is going to fold today. You're going to see that you're going to have a beautiful breakfast. You're going to see that maybe you have an appointment today, or maybe you have to start your work at 9 o'clock or whatever time it may be. So you're going to see that your day is going to go beautiful. Maybe you have to present a project in the workplace. You're going to see that it went magnificently. That your whole day, you set the intention for the day, or you can just set an intention and say, my day is going to go beautifully today. I'm going to have a wonderful day. Whatever it is that you need to do, you're going to do it fantastically today. So you already know ahead, before the day even begins, that it's going to go beautifully. And you're going to say this to yourself, this is going to be a beautiful day. This is the day the Lord has made for me. Fantastic. Now we're going to move on to phase 6. In this phase, I want you to think about the person that you love the most. It could be your spouse. It could be your parents. It could be a mom. It could be a dad. It could be a brother or sister. Or it could be somebody else who supported you in your life or is supporting you. You're going to think about those people now, who maybe have helped you to be where you are today. Whoever it is, you're going to give thanks to that person. You're going to bring that person into your reality. They're going to come in front of you in your vision, and you're going to thank them profusely. You're going to say, well, all these things that you did for me, Mom, all these things that you did for me, Mom, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful for you. If it's your spouse, you're going to thank your husband or your wife. If it's your brother or sister, you're going to thank them for it. If it's another person, you're going to thank them for it. You're going to appreciate what they've done for you. And you're going to tell them that you love them, and you're going to tell them that you appreciate them in your life, and you're grateful for them, for all the support they have given you. Love and compassion still rules the day. We're still within that love and compassion. Now bring your focus back. We're going to move on to phase 7. And now we're going to see the God the God that we serve, the God that gives us everything that we have, the God that nourishes us, the God that provides for us. Because we are told in our holy books that everything that we attain in our world only comes through the Father of lights, the God that we serve. And that's something that we must never let escape our minds, ever. It's not by happenstance. We're going to give Him glory and gratitude. We're going to give Him thanks for being on this planet, for being in this country, for sending you into this world for your mission. Whatever that mission is, you're going to be thankful. You're going to be grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Master of heaven and earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now a light comes from above, a white light descends from the cosmic realm, from God's realm, and it enters your top of your head, and enters your head, and it goes down, it enters your crown chakra, it goes down to your face, comes down, it lights up your forehead, just like it lighted up Moses' forehead. Remember, Moses' face was lit up when he was in presence of God. So it lights you up, and it goes through your arms, to your fingers, all the way, and then it comes back to your shoulders, and then, it's going through your, it's going to go through your, it's already passed through your 6th chakra, which is between your forehead. It's going to go down to your throat. It's going to pass that chakra, the throat chakra, is then going to go descend down through the heart chakra, cleansing and purifying and nourishing all the organs. It's going to go down through to your stomach. The solar plexus chakra is going to cleanse, purify, and enrich and energize all those areas. Then through your hips, then through the root chakra, it's going to go descend down through your legs, back of your thighs. It's going to go down through to your legs, through your calves. It's going to go through the feet, into the ground. The cosmic energy, the divine energy that God has sent to assist you and help you and support you with. After that, the earth energy comes up from the earth through your feet. It goes up through to your calves, top of your thighs, to your root chakra, and it nourishes the root chakra. And it's going to take away all the wrong beliefs. If you have a wrong belief system, it's not in alignment with God's belief system, what the earth energy is all about, then it's going to take away all your wrong beliefs. You're going to allow your wrong beliefs to just be earthed, go straight down into the earth. Allow the root chakra to be nourished completely. At this point, all your body is completely nourished. You're feeling love, you're feeling compassion, you're feeling really great for yourself and for everybody else around you. And you're very relaxed. And you're feeling all happy and joyous. And after this, I'm going to count to 5, and you're going to take a deep breath. And another one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now you can open your eyes. And so we are done with our morning 7-phase meditation. Now, as I said to you earlier, this is not just any meditation. This is actually a great meditation to do every day, and this will build your life. This will prepare you for your day and for your years ahead. It's very, very important that you do that every day. So coming back, now I need to mention something else. That we are coming into the festival season ahead, the fall feasts. Now I want you to remember that if you follow the lunar calendar, the Jewish calendar, then the Rosh Hashanah, the what we call Yom Teruah or Feast of Trumpets, is on September 30. If you are following the solar calendar, which is the Hanuk calendar, which I myself personally follow, and many of us others follow this as well, then the festival will start September 19, sunrise, and finish, of course, at the end of the day. Actually, usually runs for 2 days. So it will run for 2 days, and you're supposed to blow the trumpets if you have a trumpet at home or some kind of an instrument. And if you don't have any instrument, then you can just shout out, praise God and praise God's name, and then you do the necessary, which is, of course, you sit down with your family, you'd have a nice meal, and you do the right thing. But before, I wanted to explain to you that what's important is this, that this is the civil new year, by the way. This is when the civil new year starts. And I want to take one thing home with you. Make sure that you give a tzedakah offering, a charitable offering. Send it into to Rabbi Kefa or myself, and that's what will kick off your year. If you want to have a blessed year, you must do this for yourself to have a blessed, fulfilled year and an abundant year. This is where it starts. Eddie, you're asking the question, if we find it hard to do every day because of time or concentration, is it okay to do sometimes if you're doing grounding every day? Well, what I would suggest, Eddie, is that the grounding is only a short, maybe a 5-7 minute session. I would encourage you to do this every day. And if you find, because you're going to need about 15 to 18 minutes to do this, and if your life's going to change drastically, I would do this, because this is automatically grounding you as well. You can skip the grounding and you can just do this, and you get both in one. So I would suggest you do this opposed to the grounding. If you're short of time, then maybe you can do it in the evening, but you must do it one times a day, because this is what sets you for auto creation. This is bringing you into an auto creation mode, because you may have things that you want to achieve in your life, and you may have your affirmations, of course, but then this is what's actually going to propel you forward, because this is setting the stage for you to succeed. And hence why I think it's pretty important that I took the time out to create this, because I realized the importance of this particular exercise. And I thought, I could keep this to myself and benefit myself and maybe close compatriots, but I decided no, it's better that I teach you as well, because I realize the benefit of this. I realize it's awesome to do this, and I thought, I don't want just awesome for myself. I want it for all of my students, all of the people that follow me on the social media, and I want their lives to be benefited as well. Hence why I put this out public today. I've had this for a while. I put it up public because I decided that it's not just for me, it's for everybody, and I want everybody to benefit out of this. Hence why I would encourage you all to take this seriously and try to put it into effect. Now, in Parsha's Reah, in the book of Deuteronomy, in chapters 11, verses 26, it says, "Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of Yahweh your power, which I command you this day, and a curse if you will not obey it." Okay? So I'm going to explain that. What does that actually mean? Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. It's exactly what I'm teaching you. I am teaching you a blessing and a curse. Because if I teach you this blessing, I've just taught you a blessing, and I've taught you that what the Bible is saying, God has put before you imagination to do good for yourselves or to do evil for yourselves. What God is telling you, look, you can have a blessing, you can have great life ahead, but follow what I'm teaching you. So God uses those words that are sometimes, people find it awkward to understand, but these are not like they're not like just spiritual words. They are physical words, and they may have physical meaning. A blessing if you obey the commandments. So what is the commandment? Well, God told you to do certain things. Why? Because there is a benefit in those certain things. And if you don't do them, then you walk away from the benefit. And a lot of people, unfortunately, this day and age, walk away from the benefits. In chapter 12 of Deuteronomy, verse 1 says, "These are the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land, which Yahweh, Elohim of your avot, will give you to possess it all the days that you live upon the earth. You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their powers, upon the high mountains, upon the hills, and under every green edge, and you shall overthrow the altars," etc., etc. So it goes into, you shall not do so to Yahweh your power, but to the place which Yahweh your power shall choose. So there are certain principles that Yahweh tells us, and these are all basically, a lot of this, I picked up some of these principles and I've broken them up and I've brought them to you and I explained them to you so you can do them. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. Why would God start Exodus chapter 20 by saying, instead of God gathering us under the mountain, 2 million people standing under the mountain, and instead of us, being told, "Hey, I'm the creator of the universe. I created the heavens in 6 days, and then I created man." God doesn't do that. Why does God start with that I took you out of the land of slavery? Why is God so particular about our slavery and not so much about our freedom? Why does this power of the universes starts with, "I took you out of the land of slavery, bondage and slavery"? So he says, "I am Yahweh your power, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the land of Egypt, out of the Beit, out of the house of slavery." Why? Why would God say that? Can anybody think about that? Why didn't God just say that I'm the creator of the universe, and I've created the universe in 6 days, and on 6th day I made man and woman, and now you have it there, and now follow me and do my commandments? He doesn't say that. He doesn't tell you the magnificent planets He's made, the magnificent galaxies erected. And He doesn't even say He's a God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He starts with, "I took you out of the land of slavery." So Yael, woman of the tent, is saying to let us know we are free and no longer in bondage. When Kun is saying because he wants us to co-create with Him. Okay, that's all good answers. Anybody else? Let me tell you very, very, very simply. It's actually very powerful. This is actually very powerful. It's very powerful. And Eddie, you're saying that the Israelites were really molded in Egypt to think like Egyptians, and Yahweh totally destroyed Egypt. Yeah, absolutely. That's part and parcel of the reason. The reason why, and always forever saying to remind us that we came back in the land of, that we can be back in the land of bondage. He wants us to obey, we will, and none other. Okay, so all good answers. What God did was, what God is trying to remind you is this. God said you spent a number of years in slavery in Egypt. At that point, our minds were not functioning correctly. We were all lost, all worried. We were like thinking always defeat. Our attitude was always defeat. Defeatist attitude. Attitude of weakness. Attitude of, oh, we are just slaves. We can't get anywhere. Attitude of, I can't get anywhere. I am a slave. I don't have any rights. I don't have any land. I can't get ahead. These were all the negative attitudes that we had established for ourselves. And God tells us, hey, look, now you use your mind. And you're going to be free people. And you're going to use your mind because I've taken your mind out of slavery. So God wasn't saying physical slavery. He was telling us that we were in spiritual slavery as well. Our mind was enslaved. He says, now take your mind out of slavery. And now start creating for yourself good. Because you are co-creators with me, and you're going to create good for yourselves, you're going to create abundance for yourselves. I've set you free. Now you're not going to say, I can't get ahead. You're not going to say that, hey, that guy over there he's a physical Egyptian, he's a part of the land, but I'm a foreigner over here. He's ahead of me. I am beneath him. I am below him. Hey, he can have whatever he wants, but I can't have it because I'm a slave. So God took us out of that mentality rut. It was a mentality rut. Like a rat race. It was that rat race that God took us out of. He says, you're no longer in the rat race. You are now free people. Your mind is free. Start using your mind. Start using your imagination. Start creating good for yourselves, because you have me to help you. That's what God was doing. Hence why He starts with, I took you out of slavery. It doesn't start with, I'm the creator of the universe. The mind will only do good. Mind is always creating. If you dwell in negativity, you're creating negativity. I know people who create negativity all the time. All they do is bicker, argue, or they might just be, face down, dropped on the floor, chin on the floor, always, negative, always unhappy, and always being critical. That's what a lot of people do that. And that's negativity, by the way. And if you're around people like that, then guess what's going to happen to you? This is why ghetto people, and I'm not saying that ghetto people are bad people, but when people live in a ghetto environment, they become ghetto people because everybody in the ghetto environment, or almost everybody, except maybe the one or two families, have a negative mindset. Hey, we cannot get ahead. Hey, we're on Social Security for the rest of our lives. We're living on this paycheck from the Social Security, Uncle Sam, from week to week. That is a ghetto mentality. Guess what's going to affect you? And why do you live with the so-called rich neighborhoods? Because the rich neighborhoods don't have that vibes. They don't have that. They don't give those frequencies of, hey, we have to depend on Uncle Sam. No, they're getting ahead. They have businesses. They have money. They have posh cars. So they give off different vibes. But when you're living among negative people, you get negative vibes, negativity, and negativity puts you down, and you're always feeling that something's not right about this place. Hence why, try never to live in a ghetto area. Because if you live in a ghetto area, you may end up in a ghetto mindset. Because that's the mindset, that's the frequency you're getting. You're getting the frequency, hey, I'm poor. Hey, I can't get ahead. Hey, white man has put me down. These are the kind of mental issues that I've dealt with. And when I first came to America, almost everybody I spoke to, the white man is no good, the white man keeping the black man down, the black man can't get ahead, and we came out of slavery, and we are still slaves. That's all I heard all the time. And I just thought, this is totally wrong. This is totally the wrong way to think. Because these people will never get ahead if they continue to think like that. So I had to tell people that you've got to come out of your slave mentality. Because if you don't come out of your slave mentality, you'll never get ahead. Because that's a negative mindset. A negative mindset will drag you down. And it will keep you down. And you can't blame the white man for it. You've got to blame yourself, because you're the one keeping yourself down. When God tells you, He took you out of slavery. And what are you saying? I'm still a slave. I'm black. I'm down. I'm this. I'm accursed. I'm blah. I'm blah. That's what you're saying. That's what you hear people standing in New York. We are cursed. We are Israelites. We are cursed. Well, good for you. You stay cursed, but I'm blessed. I'm Israelite, but I'm blessed. And God has blessed me tremendously. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. So I don't need to, recite all this nonsense that they recite. So this is where you need to be. You need to be in a position of strength. You are in a position of strength. But are you going to exercise it? Because every time you stand with those guys, guess what they're giving you? They're giving you the negative vibe. I am cursed. I am this. I am that. And you are cursed with me. And do you really want to stand with people like that? Do you think that they're edifying you? They're actually taking you down. They're keeping themselves down, and they're taking you down with them. I would be out of there real fast. I wouldn't even stand with people like that. You wouldn't see me around people like that at all. So you have been given the blessings. God tells you that I set before you a blessing and a curse. Well, what's a curse? Well, you keep telling yourself you're cursed. That's a curse. So you can have that curse. But if you keep telling yourself you're blessed, and that indeed you are blessed, and you will be blessed, and you are blessed. So it's very important to understand that these are not just words. They actually have a very powerful effect on your lives. And the only way you're going to benefit yourself is by taking it seriously and knowing where you should be and where you should not be. Because you could be in the wrong places, with the wrong people, and with the wrong attitude and the wrong kind of theologies, dogma, all of that. This is why I say to you that don't be around people that are negative, wrong dogma, wrong people, and wrong things. Because God has given you a lot of authority and power. But power and authority can only be yielded, only be used when you actually know how to use it properly. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't use the knowledge properly, it's of no use to you. You can collect all the knowledge in the world, but knowledge applied is the only knowledge that will give you strength and will give you victory. Only knowledge that gives you victory is not the knowledge you have, is the knowledge that you apply. So when people say, hey, knowledge is power, no, knowledge is not power. The application of knowledge is power. So from today, let yourselves know that you're going to start applying the knowledge into your life, and that application will bring power into your lives, and you'll be tremendously blessed. So a lot has happened this week. I had a testimony from one of the people in the group, and they were saying that they had a couple of issues. One issue was that the dad ended up in the ICU. He had some problems, serious issues, and so I was speaking to my student 2 weeks ago in Florida, and she was telling me that her dad is in ICU, and I said, okay, this is what you need to do. So I gave her something that she needed to do, and she did that, and the dad is out of the ICU and is doing good now. And then she told me that she was having trouble with the IRS, and rather than blame Eddie for it, because I think he works for the IRS, I told her that what she needed to do to resolve the IRS issue. So she followed that through, and she gave me a testimony of the IRS issue, that she said she'd been doing what I told her, and then her husband went to drop a letter to the IRS department where they lived in Orlando, and the IRS people turned around and said to them, because they had declined to give them the money that they'd obviously been desiring, the check that they should have received, and the IRS was kind of delaying it. And then when the husband went into the office to drop a letter, the man turned around and said to the husband that you don't have an appointment over here. So he said, well, I'm only come to drop the letter. So they took the letter off him, and then obviously they probably queried him for his name and whatnot. okay, Eddie. So and then what happened was, at the end of that, the man turned around and looked at his name, and he said to him, we will write to you. But then he said to him, he turned around and told him that we're going to pay you your payment, we're going to expedite your payment, and we're going to pay you on the 28th of August. And he just said that, and then the husband left. You see, before they were saying to them, we're not going to give you your payment. You're not going to have it, and they'll delay. And then when the husband went, and when the wife did what she was told to do, suddenly everything flipped. The tax man turned around and said, we're sending your payment. We're expediting it. That is a power that you have. You see, with the Kohen behind your back and telling you how to do it and what to do it, then you can have the power. I can lift you up, but I have to tell you to do something for yourself too. I can lift you up, but you also have to do something at your end. It's a two-way street. In the past, what I used to do, somebody would come to me and say to me, could you please help me do this? Pray to God for me that I'll get this. And I just used to do that. I used to just pray for them and do something, and they will get it. But nowadays, I decided, no, I need to make you work a little bit as well. I don't want to do all the work myself. So I make you a co-partner with me. So when you come to me, you're going to do part of the work, and I'm going to do one part of the work I'm going to do, and 3 parts of the work you're going to do. That's how we're going to make things happen. That way you know how to, follow your life and how to do the right thing. So it's called a co-partnership. Because, God doesn't do everything himself. He does it through you. Hence why, that's the way I decided to work, and that's how I work nowadays. When somebody comes to me, says to me, give me $1 million, tell God to give me $1 million, and I tell them, this is how you're going to get the millions. This is how you're going to have to do the work. And then they have to follow that work, and yes, they can have their millions. So with that, I hope you understood where I am presently. Oh, one more thing, by the way. The festivals are coming up end of this month, as you know, middle of the month and end of the month. And October, I'm going to be leaving the country. I have been instructed by the God of Israel to leave this country for presently. I go to the east. I'm going to be going to the east for a while. It could be a few months. So I'm going to be leaving potentially sometime in September. Maybe from the middle of September up, I'm going to be out of this country. I'm going to shut my American phone down. I will not be able to receive your text messages or your phone calls. It's going to be shut down. My number will still be available, but I'll not be able to see anything on it because they'll just shut it down and they just hold my number at AT&T. And whilst I'm out of the country, I would like you to, if you need to contact me, please contact me through email. And if you already have my WhatsApp, then maybe that WhatsApp you could still use the WhatsApp because that probably will be active over there at the other end of the country. Lion Princess is saying that our son told us that he experienced a mini stroke. I grounded him, reassured him all of the tests, MRI, etc., all negative. He has been given all clear to drive. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, Baruch Hashem for that. That's great. See, this is how you can help. You can help your children. You can help your relatives by doing simple things. And this is the right way to empower people. So, having said that, that's why I was saying that I'll be across the east at the moment. And what I will do, I cannot guarantee that I will have internet all the time, although I'm actually looking for internet over there. I've actually asked where I'm going to stay to have internet, but it's not a guarantee because I'll be traveling as well. So whilst I'll be traveling in the country, I think it's going to be that my internet might be sporadic, and I may or may not be on mail or WhatsApp or whatnot. So I would encourage you to have any questions, any concerns. You have Rabbi Kefa in America to get to, and failing that, you can write to me an email, and whenever I get to my email, I will respond back to you from across there. But like I said, I'm going to be a little bit out of reach, but I will be reachable, but it'll just be that when I don't have internet, then I won't be able to respond immediately. But I will respond as soon as I get to my email or to a place where I can get net. Then I will respond to you in a timely manner. So please understand that, because I have things that need wrapping up over there, and I was waiting for the Master of the Heaven and Earth to tell me when I can go, and I've been given the green light to leave in September. And although I tried to delay it, I was like, can I go in October or November? I was told, no, you got to go in September. So September it's going to be. So that's when I'm leaving. And other than that, we'll have to, I'll continue to, of course, come to Pal Talk. I may not be able to teach live because the timing, the timing is we're like 9-10 hours, there's like a day and night difference. But what I will try to do, if I can't do the live, I will record my session beforehand, and I will pass it to Rabbi Kefa to play it into the Pal Talk room. Yemisia, you're asking a question. Do the stones have to contact the $5 directly, or is it okay to have the stones packaged? Well, the simple answer is they should be out of their package and should be contacting your dollar note or your pound note or your euro note. They should be contacting it. They should be touching it, and they should be pointing to the directions I gave you. I gave you all that asked me your success zones. Your stones should be facing your success zones. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank you for listening. I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a great Shabbat, great happy week ahead. Over to you, Rabbi Kefa.
I really like the new platform, Akoy. You notice with the, did you do the update yet? It's a nice little clean platform they have down here on the Power Talk. I tell you what, back to what Akoy was saying, I tell you, these are going to be some great times for us ahead. As, the Kohen steps away for a bit, and now this gives you time to really hone in on, let's face it, how many of you will agree with me that you've been given ample enough Torah tools in your chest to deal with your situations? Anybody agree with me on that? Now you just must begin to take this and apply it. Akoy talked about this during his lecture. To take it and begin to put it into application. The Kohen will step away for a while to do his necessaries. Now this is a great opportunity for all of us to begin to really hone in, sit down, and replicate, continue to, Gentiles call it rinse and repeat. I hear that a lot amongst the Zest. They like to say, excuse me, they like to say this a lot. I'm drinking my turmeric tea over here. Turmeric, potato, however you want to pronounce it. So it gives me, it relieves the gas in my stomach. Thanks to the turmeric, which I call it the gold. The gold amongst all of these herbs that we do have out here to use. But anyway, I digress off of my turmeric tea over here. But I think it's going to be great for us to begin to apply. And we've all been given the necessary tools that we need to be successful. Now you just go and be successful, and that's going to come with a lot of application. And I hear this a lot amongst the wealthy. And, Hakohen has told you this, and if you really want to get encouraged as well, continue to watch, real shows based on reality, real life. A lot of these documentaries are great, but especially those on the wealthy. They're real interesting about what they say. Little catchwords. They'll just be talking, and they're talking from their heart. They're talking about, how they became successful. And a lot of times they say, I just kept doing the same thing over and over. Have you heard about this latest guy that he won the lottery? I think he's somewhere over there in the East. But he played the same lottery numbers for 20 years. The exact same numbers. He played the lottery. Anybody else heard that story besides myself? True story. He played the lottery, the same exact numbers for 20 years. You want to talk about devotion and commitment? The same numbers, 20 years. He said he took them from, one of his grandchildren's birthdays, his daughter's birthday. He had a little system, and he set that up, and he played those same numbers for 20 years. Now he hit the lottery. First thing he said, well, what are you going to do with all the money? He said, well, listen to this. Listen to what he said. I'm going to buy my family a house. Importance on the house cannot be understated. The home cannot be understated. Now we're going to have this opportunity to really fine tune our skills and continue to rinse and repeat. How many of you have already attracted and manifested some things in your life that you had in that you wrote down in your aspirations and that you've been journaling? Anybody? Put up one if that's you. Anybody? Well, then, again, you already have the system in place. Just begin to rinse and repeat it. Rinse and repeat. 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 So now you're going to have a great opportunity to do so. And yeah, don't forget with our festivals as well. Don't come empty-handed. Don't come empty-handed. Do the necessaries and do right by the God of Israel and do right by the servants of Israel as well. In the form of the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron. It's very, very important. Not for, Hakohen's benefit, but for yours. It's going to be for your benefit. It's going to continue to assist and help you as you crying out to the universes, as you crying out to the God of Israel. As you're connecting. It's so very important that you do what you're supposed to do. Now, I'll tell you this. I have heard a lot of the testimonies as Hakohen forwards them to me, the testimonies that are coming in about people who are, seeing their desires met, their dreams met, their desires fulfilled, their wants fulfilled, and I say thank you to the universes. Thank you to the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, for that. And they're going to continue to come in. Don't give up. Don't get complacent. Don't stop. Just because you see some things done, because you can continue to enhance and better your lives in many different ways, in many different areas of your life as well. So continue on. But in saying this, you know what I noted? One thing that I did note, and I like to put this out there, I wrote it down. One thing that I did note is that what a commonality that I see is if people say this, the family will say this. They'll say, just like you said. That's the key. Just like you said. That phrase, that statement, can anybody give a one-word response to that? What does that mean? Just like you said. And as I'm reading, I see that a lot in their responses in the emails. They'll say, oh, and just like you said, I did it just like you said. One-word definition to that phrase. Anybody give me a one-word definition to that phrase? Just like you said. Rabbi Hakohen, I did it just like you said. Yael, woman of the 10, says obedience, discipline. The Torah said, just like you said. I did it just like you said. I want you to remember that. Now, for you early birds that came in earlier, I tell you, this is beautiful. Because me and Hakoini, we don't sit together, making s'mores by a campfire and we talk, oh yeah, Hakoini, I'm going to do this lecture and I'm going to talk about this. But for you early birds that came in the room, what subject did I talk to you about? As I wanted some of your responses about. What subject did I, one word, can anybody tell me for you first as we were chatting earlier before the room opened? I need watchers and witnesses to this point. I'm telling you, this is beautiful stuff. You understand how we are connected as a family, and we don't have to be, right next to each other, roommates or neighbors. But the communication is spiritual. Yeah, to God for your response, by the way, I was talking about a story, right? Your story. What is my story? To God for that, Mishpah, for you early birds that come into the room. By the way, we open the room at 8:30 Central Time, but we start at 9 a.m. So the room is open at 8:30 for those of you who didn't know that. Just want to put it out there to the airwaves, to the masses as well on YouTube. So let's talk about, and then what does Hakohin talk about? He began to, and by the way, Hakohin wasn't even in the room at this time, right? For those of you who were in earlier, Hakohin went in the room, right? I want you all to be witnesses and watchers to this. Hakohin went in the room, and the first thing Hakohin began to talk about was what? Hey, I'm going to tell you, I got this story for you guys. Let me tell you. And then he begins to go in and tell you what? To for that Oliver, Vive la France. He began to tell you his story. A story, a part of his story, which, again, this is why stories are so important. What is the story behind? And you need to ask yourself this in your evaluation of everything that you do in life. What is the story behind this? Powerful stuff. Why do you think Hollywood is so important? They're good at what? Making up stories. Am I right? When you're Hollywood wing, all they're doing is telling you stories. And they appeal to you, or they draw the masses in. I'm a Star Wars fan, man. Star Wars for life. I'm a Star Wars fan because I like the story. In the story, it attracts you. It just draws you in. Some folks don't like Star Wars, so be it. But I've been following Star Wars ever since I was knee-high to a tadpole. I like the story. Torah says this deep Space Nine, Book of Shield. I like the story. Maybe it's because the attraction to the universes and to the beyond. Star Trek, Book of Shield. For Yael, woman of the 10. But story is powerful. This is why I asked you early birds, what is your story? Hakoini says Star Trek too. What is your story? Connecting you to the universes, connecting you to the heavens, and the beyond Earth stuff. I tell you, I've always liked Star Wars, man. I said, man, one day I'm going to fly in one of these planes. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to fly, and I'm going to be out there in space, and I'm going to go into hyperspace. Man, imagination. Do you see how all these things can churn in you? And from an early age, from when you're knee-high to a tadpole, it's just something within your DNA. You have the DNA of El Shaddai. You're not confined to this earth. So Hakohin began to tell you his story, Taekwondo story. And it resonated, and it had a great, lesson behind it, very powerful. Because ignorantly he was perfect law before he even knew what the definition of perfect law was. He was doing perfect law. Does that not align you with our family? We will do, we will hear. We will do, we will hear. That's what was said under the mountain. We will do, we will hear. We will do, we will hear. Marriage contract with the God of Israel. We will do, we will hear. Do it. Hear about it later. Wow, do you not see the connection? Isn't it beautiful as we begin to put all these pieces together? And you're going to be able to put all the pieces. The pieces are already together, and you're like, you have the puzzle. Now you're starting to fit those pieces together, and it's a beautiful thing. when you see how you're connected to the very Creator that breathed into your nostrils and gave you life and animated you and gave you thought and gave you reason and gave you beauty and gave you love, joy, peace, happiness. It's beautiful. Beautiful. So beautiful. But Hakoim, he told you his story. I didn't even ask him to tell me his story. But yet he came into the room, he came with the beginning of his lecture to tell you a story. This is how you have to look at our history. It's a beautiful story. Ups and downs. Lessons to be learned either way. On the top of the mountain or in the valley. It's always lessons to be learned. Experience to be gained. And these next couple of weeks before we hit our civil new year, all of you are going to have the opportunity to do great and marvelous things for your story. All of you are telling a story. You're writing a story. You're closing one chapter to the story, opening up a new chapter. But you're always doing this throughout the whole of your life. And at the end of your life here on this earth, what's going to happen? Your books are going to be open. Isn't that beautiful? Your book is better be full of what? Stories should be. They're gonna, whether you agree with me or not, your books are going to tell a story about what? About you. About sin. It's beautiful. But my lecture today is focused on in this area as well. With just like you say. Heavy stuff. Just like you said. Now let's take it to this Parsha. I'm going to take it to our books, our story. We're going to read it right from our books. And by the way, as Akoi was talking about our holidays coming up, we know the Gentiles' holidays are coming up as well. And one of the biggest ones that's coming up is the Christmas holiday, right? That's a big one for the Gentiles. That's a big one for the world. World over. I mean, over there in China, they celebrate Christmas. They don't even know what the heck it means, but they know you can put up these trees and you can go out and you can buy things and everything looks beautiful, but they don't understand the concept of, the reason for the season, but even they celebrate Christmas in China. They're over there doing their thing, you see. So, but the reason why I talk about Christmas is this. I tell you, one of the greatest gifts that you can give anybody that you really care for is get them a copy. Get them the book, the Abrahamic Faith Bible. You see, because my lecture is dealing with this today. It's dealing with options. And according to tell you, I love trading options now. I've become a fan of options, and I've attracted options in my life when we're dealing with the stock market. I love options now. I'm a big fan of options. Rabbi. A lot of my attraction comes through the Kohen. I don't know about you, but a lot of the things that I attract, they come in, the vehicle that is used is the Kohen, the son of Aaron. Now, I don't know about you. Is anybody in that same experience as well? Maybe yours come in an Amazon box from Jeff Bezos, but mine come from, the Kohen. A lot of my attraction, the things that I attract, they come into me that way. I'm telling you, it's quite interesting. And I'm thankful for that, by the way. But what we want to talk today about is options. Not the ones on the stock market, which are good as well. I like those options. But we want to talk about options and the ability of you see, and this is what people in their mindset, they think that they don't have options. There's no way out. And a lot of people do a lot of bad things based on not having options. Anybody know what I'm talking about this day? So what the laws of Moses do is they give you so many options, but people don't see that. And unfortunately, they can't see it. And even in the animal kingdom, how many of you understand, and you watch the National Geographic for a minute, and you understand when an animal is cornered, and they realize that there are no options, and they get cornered, what happens to that animal? Science calls it fight or flight. And the majority of the time, if there is no way out for an animal in the animal kingdom, the majority of the time, they're going to fight. They're not going to try to fly away. They're going to fight. And yeah, you're right, lion person, and defend themselves. You see, in the human kingdom, as my study of human nature, I find that when an individual is cornered, meaning that a person realizes or they think in their reasoning that there are no options, there is no way out. Instead of fighting, a lot of times folks give up. Quinn talked about it in his lecture. They give up. They give in. And a lot of folks do a lot of bad things, even up to taking their life, because they realize it, even up to the point of taking their life. How many of you may even know friends, family members, and loved ones that have done this. Because they didn't take counsel, number one, and they realize it, and they find themselves in a corner, where they're cornered in. But today, I want to bring good cheer. And be grateful and show gratitude and raise up options, because you do have options this far. And if you're listening via YouTube, maybe this message is just for you. These words are powerful. I want to encourage you to tell you this day that you have options. Don't say, well, Rabbi, you don't know my situation. Don't put yourself in that corner. Don't put yourself in that corner to where you feel like you're cornered. You see? You do have options. There's always an option. There's more than one option. And so, with the Christmas season coming up, I want you all to be in the same position that I'm in. It's a position of extending a hand and giving somebody else some more options. And what's the option that I'm talking about? The option of getting the Abrahamic Faith Bible in their library, on their coffee table, in their living room. Why don't you purchase them the Abrahamic Faith Bible, which was once called the Hidden Truth Embrace. Before that was called the Abrahamic Faith and Exarm Study Scriptures, right? Right, Rabbi Zachariah? So what you want to do is to be able to give folks options. You're an option, Mishpachah, in the nation that you're in the city that you're in the neighborhood that you're in. You're an option to where you can say, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it. Don't feel like you're cornered. Don't feel like you either have to fight or flight. No, there's so many options for you out there. And that's what people need to see in today's time. As a student of human nature, I realize that they need to realize that there are more options out there in their reasoning. You see, when they go through their list, they realize, oh, I'm out of options. That's false realization and false reasoning. Because there's more options if they would just but turn the page. Sometimes you have to help folks turn the page. Abrahamic Faith Bible can do that. Yeah, you may have, this translation, that translation. Well, how about let's add another option, another translation to the mix? Isn't that a beautiful thing? The dollar of that involves my mother wisdom. Is that there are options. He quoted that verse from the Songs of Solomon, and he talked about the foxes. I was just over here laughing to myself. I laugh when I wake up in the morning. I'm laughing, and I laugh when I go to bed at night. It's laughter. I'm a big fan of laughter. Anybody else in this room? I love to be happy, because the alternative is, and I ask myself this all the time: why be sad? I don't care. Fire and brimstone is coming down. I mean, think about it for a minute. So why be sad? The alternative. Why go to the alternative, sad and depression, when you can just still be happy through it? You know what I mean? I'm empowered by life. Life empowers me, and I empower life. I see myself as alternative energy, Baruch Hashem. Do you understand what I mean? I am alternative energy. We run out of energy. Not over here. I can give you some of mine. Let me empower you. All of you this day are going to give options to other people. You're going to help people. Abrahamic Faith Bible is going to help people for their holidays. Celebrate with them, giving them another option, Mishpachah, instead of sitting there just running them down, complaining about them. How about you give them more options? So that they can turn the page and realize, wow, I haven't reached the end. You know what I mean? It's just the beginning. Well, I never saw life like this. Now I do. Baruch Hashem. That's who you are, family. So supply options to the world. And don't be haters and negators of this world. But give the world options, because that's what they need more of. As they go through their laundry list and they feel like, oh, well, I have exhausted every opportunity that I had. No, you haven't. Number one, you're never exhausted. Here, let me give you some of, like Yael, woman of 10 said, let me give you some of my solar power. For good show. Let me empower you. Let me give you some of my solar power. I tell you, my son in the womb, Nashchan, every time he hears this voice, and you know his voice is it's commanding. It's a commanding voice. Every time he hears his voice, he starts to move. I come in the house, my wife says, oh, he hadn't moved today. I come in the house talking, oh, he starts to move. That's my son. I'm so happy. That's my son. Because I'm bringing power to the womb. I'm bringing power. And I'm always touching his little belly. I'm touching his belly. I'm touching my wife's belly. And I feel him in there just moving around. And he's in there doing taekwondo. He's in there doing his taekwondo and his yoga poses and all that. He's moving around. My wife's always moving in. He's kicking my rib. He's on my bladder. You know, my wife's going to the bathroom like every 5 seconds now. I'm sure she's in the bathroom. Oh, he can move down there, kick my rib. He's up here. You know, so Baruch Hashem. But words have power. We have so much energy. I'm starting to realize I have energy within my hand as I touch my wife's tummy. Now it's a super big tummy. My mother calls it a watermelon. She says, your wife has a watermelon in there. I like watermelon. You touch on his tummy, and my son feels that power. He feels it, because then he gets active. He says, oh, what's this? So if there's power that we can display within the womb, how much power do we have outside? It's you and I. So walking on our own 2 feet, we have so much awesome power. Life for me has been a total paradigm shift that I've come and I have sat at the feet of the son of Aaron, the HaKohen. Now, I know all of you, probably the majority of you in this room will say the same thing. And you must give gratitude for that, because your life has totally changed. Now you realize that you had more options. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of you were probably on wit's end when it comes to your options. You're like, well, my goodness. There's got to, and I know all of you had this question like I did. There's got to be more to life than this. I mean, I'm here for a reason, and there's got to be more than just going to Sunday church. I mean, it's got to be more to that. I tell you, back to it, I was telling the early birds that came room, yeah, you know, you talk about your story. And you know, if you come to the Baptist system, or maybe even some of the non-denominational churches, you go into these churches, how many of you remember used to sing that hymn? How come he talked about hymns they used to sing? I tell you, one that used to give me goosebumps, and still does to this day, is when they would sing that hymn, This Is My Story. How many of you know that hymn? There we go. This is my story. This is my song. You remember that one? Praising the Savior all the day long. Hey, I'm telling you, you start getting this, you're raising your hands up in the air, and you say, oh yeah, yes Lord, this is my story. Yet, we would sing this hymn, I'm telling you, how many of you that song would just like, it literally give you goosebumps? You know, how come you talk about you listen to these hymns that will make you cry? But that song would, put up a G if that's you. I tell you, that song would give me goosebumps. I'm like, wow, there's something to this song. Maybe I need to look within and I began to think, well, what is my story? I was saying this is my story, but what was my story? Maybe it was giving me goosebumps because that was trying to connect me. That was an opportunity, an option for me to connect to myself. We all have a story. Don't put your stories in a closet. There's lessons in each story, in each experience that you have. You don't just have one story in your book, right? I hope you all are flipping many pages. Oh, yeah, I remember that story. Yes, I remember this story and the experience. What did I gain from that? What did I learn from it? You know what I mean? That's important. I don't know if it's just a Western thing, but those hymns, I don't know if they do it over there in the UK and everything, in France, but they play those hymns because, you know, they're trying to stir up your emotions and get you in a different state, literally. They're literally trying to take you, and I mean, oh, I'm going to say, yeah, they do. It's the same thing over there in the UK, in the East over there. So they're trying to, you know, build you and emotionally take you to another state. Because I remember singing something, this is my story, like, wow, that really resonates with me. But I didn't know how, I didn't know what it meant. Ignorantly. I mean, I didn't know. I was like, wow. But I tell you, that song really touched me. This is my story. I didn't even know my story. I didn't know who the heck I was. I was just following the crowd. Because everybody else was doing it. And really, you know, there was an atmosphere of just feel good. But this day, I encourage the early birds that came into the room to really meditate and marinate on what is your story. If you could sum it up in, you know, a couple of sentences. Or what is your story? As you heard from my colleagues lecture, stories are powerful. It can be very, very powerful. Yet at the same time, it cuts like a two-edged sword, right? They can be very, very detrimental to you as well. As some people hang on the negativity of the stories in their life, and they get depressed, they get anxiety, they fester up worry, and all these negative things, negative energy. I sit here and tell myself every day, my affirmation, I am positive energy. I guess that's why I'm alternative energy. I bring energy with me wherever I go. I don't need to plug into anything. I am the plugger in. The plug-ins that you put in to make your house look good, they say plug it in, plug it in. Well, I don't need to plug it in. Plugged into the universes. Universal power. I'm going to tell you something about that in this travels. You want universal power, universal connections that can connect everywhere you go, in whatever country you're in. Some may be 220, some may be what? What's the other one? A 240? You might have all these, but you can plug into any system. You may want to look into this as well in your travels. They were saying that there's this devices they make out wireless internet now. Wireless modem internet devices. I don't know if that'll help you. I heard somebody mention that this week. Oh, there's this wireless internet things that you can take it, modems, you can take them with you wherever you go and have connectivity. So maybe you can definitely be able to put that to the test. So these are things that we have to look at, Mishpahah. We have to look at our story, you see. And your story is based on everything. You see, your story is based on, when you look at it at its framework and at the foundation, you're looking at your story is based on decisions. He hinted on this in his lecture. Talked about it a little bit. At the end of the day, your story is based on decisions. Every decision that you make. He went to the Song of Solomon and he was talking about foxes. I tell you, I was laughing with it myself, as I was telling you earlier before I got, excited and hope I took me another way. But he was telling me, he reminded me of the foxes. How many of you, what do we call a fox here in the West? I don't know if they do this in the East, but in the West, what do we call a fox, men? You men would know, especially you men with some soul. What do we call, I'm giving you a lot of great hints. What do we call a fox? What's synonymous with a fox here in the West, Mishpahah? Torah said it because she is one. A woman, right? Am I right? You men in the room? You foxy lady. My father used to say that all the time. You foxy mama. So I guess you other men, you quiet. You never used that word or ever heard use the word synonymous with woman as a fox. Do they do that in the East Hakohin? Anybody living in the UK? What about France, Oliver? Do they associate a woman with a fox in France? Hakohin said no in the UK. How about in France, Oliver? Do they associate the woman like with a fox? Oh, they call her a bird. Okay. Oh, no, okay, no foxes, no fox in France either for association. But here in the West, men, please be watching the witness with me. How many of you men here in the West, in North America, you have heard the slogan of calling a woman a fox? Anybody in this room? Any men? Please stand up for me and be watching the witness. Maybe you even say to yourself, wow, you a foxy mama. You foxy. You, man, oh, she's a fox. So, okay, to top of your responses, by the way. So, what you need to understand with this is sometimes that fox can come in the form of a woman, and she'll sit there and she'll run you down. Or come in the form of a man, run down your dreams, run down your aspirations, tell you you're not going to do nothing, never going to be nothing, blah, blah, blah. Never can support you. So you have to be careful of that as well. You see? Because as you're trying to exercise control over your mind and take back control of that super instrument that we've been given, the mind, and you come into your subconscious, you're trying to do all these things, what you need more than anything is great support behind you. And you got to be careful because she'll come in looking, fine like red wine in the sunshine. She'll come in looking really, really good. You think this is positive for you and taking you in a positive direction, or he, by the way, because I'm not singling out either side. I'm neutral. Y'all know what club I'm a part of. I'm a part of the Green Club, the Green Party. So I don't take sides. So it can come in either way. It can come either way. It can come in the form of a man, it can come in the form of a woman. And you sit there and you think they're trying to do good for you, and they're going to be good for you, but they turn out to be polar opposite. Akalain talked about this in his lecture. Steer clear of these kind of people. That's going to prevent you from staying conscious. They're trying to drag you back in the subconscious, tell you can't do nothing, you're not going to be nothing, don't want to support you in any kind of way. Atara, as a woman, is telling you, look at her testimony here. They are cunning. They can be very cunning. Absolutely right. Men can too. We have our devices. So it can go both ways. But you have to be careful about this. This is why you hear the calling. He didn't say, how many of you heard many times before he said, money's not the top of my aspirations. Relationships are. You starting to see why? Because relationships can wreck you when it comes to your ability to attract, to manifest things in your life. If you have the wrong kind of relationships, what is that? That's negativity. And you surround yourself with negativity, then it's going to drain you. You can't be alternative energy being drained. Then before you know it, because you're in that kind of situation, you got to find yourself having to plug in. Oh, I need to go plug into something. I need a power source. Because you fail to realize that you are the power source. That has distanced itself from you. Because now you become dependent instead of being independent. Stand on your own. Stand alone. And still can be strong. And still can manifest and attract and have whatever you want, the desires you want in this beautiful life that we've been given. On the face, to walk the face of this earth and do great and marvelous things in this world. Not based on any kind of religion, any kind of creed and blah, 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 all that mumbo jumbo. Throw it out the window. You're here to be a helper. You're here to be a light to the nations. You're here to do great things. You're here to give the world options. One of the greatest options. And you don't even have to say anything. You just have to put some energy on it. Put a little money on it and circulate that hidden truth, the Abrahamic Faith Bible. Put it up, give it to somebody, tell them, look, put it under your Christmas tree. Hallelujah. Merry Christmas to you. Oh, Rabbi, why are you telling? Merry Christmas to you, because that's what they know. They're unconscious. How are you going to judge somebody consciously that's unconscious? You can't sit here and put yourself in the judgment seat. Because you're here to bring options to folks. I can guarantee you, every one of you in this room was presented with an option at one time or another in your life, and it was beneficial to you. And it actually helped you along in your journey, in your way Hashem. And that there's so many options out there. I'm telling you, if you haven't noticed in your affirmations and in your attracting and manifesting, these things are coming to you in unexplained kind of ways that you could have never imagined. This is telling you, this is the universe telling you, there are many different ways to get $1 million. How many of you know that? Many different ways. Many, many, many. You cannot out-option the many different ways to become a billionaire. There's many, many different ways. If you're watching these inspirational true stories about documentaries about millionaires and conversations with them, TED Talks or however you listen to them, you'll find that there's so many different ways to making money, so many different ways to attracting money, so many different ways to gain relationship, so many different ways to do it. For me, relationship was in China. For you, relationship might be in Kansas, California, Florida. You understand what I mean? On the next street. There's so many different options. That's what I want to push and impress upon you this day. Never give up because there's so many different options. But let me help you even further as I help myself. This is the next phase as we learn from our Kohen. The next step to that is this. Just like I heard in the testimonies, it's this. It's the just like you said. That's what's important. And you want to talk about stories? That comes right out of our books. Right out of our storied history as Hebrews. Right out of our books. Just like you said. Moses is impressing this upon the Hebrews. Remember, just like you said. The God of Israel took the Hebrews out of Egypt just like he said. Am I right? I want this statement to stick with you these next 6 days of labor and even beyond. Just like he said. If you master that statement, you have definitely put yourself on the yellow brick road. And whatever is at the end of that yellow, you have definitely put yourself on that rainbow. Because the leprechauns say on the other side of the rainbow is what? A pot of gold. How many of you want a pot of gold this day? You have definitely put yourself on that road path. If you just remember and master this statement, just like he said. Let's look at this in our Parsha. Let's open this up a little bit. And to do that, we're gonna have to go to Deuteronomy. I'm gonna start reading from Deuteronomy chapter 11, verses 22. And I do read from the Abrahamic Faith Bible, by the way. A great option that our Queen put out here for the whole of the world. You heard him say in his lecture, yeah, he definitely just sit on this, awesome instruction, but he doesn't. He gives it out because it's good for everybody. Because believe it or not, this lecture is going out on YouTube, as all of you know as well. So it's good for everybody. It's good for the whole of the world. You see? Because the Kohen wants the whole of the world to have options. If the son of Aaron wants the whole of the world to have options, don't you think he wants you to do the same? And not hang on to this information for yourself, but, give it out where giving out is needed and to where they can handle it. Because, believe me, a lot of folks around you probably witnessing watching this yourself, is they still walking around unconscious. So what can you do? You can give them options by giving them a book. You don't have to say anything. See what they're going to do with it. Give them an option so they can make better decisions for themselves. And thus write great stories, miraculous stories. So we're going to pick it up in Deuteronomy chapter 11, starting at verse 22. And if you shall carefully keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love Yahweh your power, and to walk in his halakha, his commandments, and to cling to him. Wow. I think we did a lot of lectures on clinging. Cling to him. When you cling to something, you just don't let go. I see this in the in the water the other day. This little baby was just clinging to his mama. His daddy tried to go take him, and that boy just clung to his mama like, my goodness. I was like, wow, that's some serious clinging from that little boy. Clinging. Verse 23. Then will Yahweh drive out all these nations from before you, and you shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. You shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. You see, that's very important to understand, because there's a small little group of people. This small family going to possess nations, greater nations, and mightier than yourselves. See, some of you come with the mentality, you think, oh, I'm too small. Oh, I'm not enough. You are enough. And you're going to possess not nations greater and mightier than you. He was talking about that in his lecture. He was doing that in his Taekwondo story that he told you about. You're like, so what? These people, they have this, that. I'm gonna knock them out of the ring. You're gonna see them flying out of the ring, possessing nations. This is the best team. The reputation precedes them. Blah 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 blah. What is the mindset I'm going at? I already visualize it. I'm knocking them out the ring, baby. I love that. I'm knocking them out. No problem. And guess what he said? After I knocked him out, I didn't even feel bad about it. I love that. I love that. I love that. I'm telling you, that's a true story. This is not Hollywood wink stuff here. No Rocky Balboa stuff. This is real life stuff. Although I do believe Rocky Balboa, that was based on a true story, if I'm not mistaken. So Mr. Malone, you got to call me up and let me know. But I think it's very, very important that you understand. Very, very important is that don't put yourself, oh, whoa, lowly me, I'm just this little sheep, blah, 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 sheep, 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 whack, 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 bah, bah, bah. I don't know, sheep go bah, 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 not whack, whack, whack. I think that's more like the duck that I had last night. Whack, 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 but the sheep goes bah, bah, bah. Oh, bah, 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 I'm just a sheep, my lowly sheep. I cannot defend myself, blah, blah. No one can take care of me. No one's behind me. I can never reach these affirmations. I'm nobody. I want to be a somebody, but I'm just a nobody. No, that's not true. The Master Yahweh in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 23 says, and you shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. You want to be a billionaire? There's already billionaires out here. Why can't you be one? You want to be a millionaire? There's millionaires out here. Why can't be you have that? You want a loving relationship with tons of children? You see other people have that, then you can have that too. Because you serve the possessor of the possessions. Thank you, Oprah, for that one. You serve the possessor of the possessions, man. My goodness. You need to get that mindset within you. There's no stopping you. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move, baby. There's no stopping you. You unstoppable, Mishpah. Oh, I got this stop sign that's in my way, and I can't move forward from that. Quit telling yourself that. And don't surround yourself with those foxes that are telling you that as well. Foxy mamas, foxy men. Don't do it. It's running you down. So we go on to read at verse 24. Every place wherein the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours. From the wilderness to Lebanon, to the river of the Euphrates, even to the uttermost sea, shall your coast be. Look at here it goes right here. Look at verse 25. As we're talking about, just like he said, there shall no man be able to stand before you. For Yahweh your power shall lay the fear of you and the dread upon you, upon all the land all the land that you shall tread upon. As He has said to you. As He has said to you. Just like He said. As He has said to you, so shall it be done. It is finished. Complete. You are complete. You are whole. As He has said to you. I'm telling you, you made this a part. This is an awesome weapon in your quiver that you can use. That you must use to truly be successful and have whatever you want in this life. Peace, love, joy, happiness, money, relationship. You must remember what was already told you. See, that's what we forgot. I thought I was a Catholic. I thought I was a Christian. I thought I was an African. How many of you have been there? I thought I was whatever they thought I was, that's what I thought. Whatever they thought I was, that's what I thought. You understand what I mean? I've been there. But I never sat down and looked at, well, just as He said. Just as He said to you. I was just going by what everybody else was saying, and that's what I thought I was. Oh, look. You this. You African American? Okay, yeah, I'm African American. Yes, okay. But now that I know, and the options were presented to me, because believe it or not, I was always looking for the options. So for those of you who are triers, continue trying. Until you get to that point that you know, and you find what suits you, and you stay put it. This is why you can't sit here running down and condemning everybody else that don't think and have your thought process as a conscious, person manifesting things and attracting things into your life. You see, you're coming at the wrong angle with these people. Appreciate them for where they are. Don't be judgmental of anybody. Humanity, don't be judgmental. Just know that you're a facilitator of what? Of options. I can bring options to the table, you see. I can bring options to the table. Yeah, you may not know like I know, but here, let me give you some options that may help you in your path and in your journey on this earth. Beautiful. That is one of the phases I would consider being a light to the nations. You're a light to the world. Because you're not running around here trying to dim folks light that they may have or may don't have. But you're providing them more options. Mishpahah, let's talk science for a minute. When we talk about fire, how does fire breathe, if I can say that? How does a little campfire turn into a forest fire? What are the elements of a fire? And you may want to do this if you want. What are the elements that make that feed a fire? That's how I want to put it. What are the elements that feeds a fire? What elements? Okay, there we go. Oxygen. So oxygen is wind. Okay, there we go. So basically we're putting air on it. See, and this is what you want to do to anybody's fire. When you look at humanity and you see every person around you with a little fire, maybe a big fire, little fire, whatever kind of fire they have some kind of light in them. So what you want to do is facilitate it by blowing air on it. That's what you want to do. Now, what's the best way to put out a fire? What's the best way to put out a fire? Some people say throw water on it. Some people may say, put a big towel over it to block the oxygen or block air hitting it. Then it just dies. It kills it. And that's what you don't want to do to humanity. If you don't want to smother it. Think about that for a minute. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, Rabbi, my mandate is to go out and save the world. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to tell this Christian he's going to hell. You're smothering him. Oh, I'm telling my mama she need to come out of that church. You smothering her. How many of you at one time or another guilty of smothering? You're putting out their fire. Church is the only fire that they know. Why are you trying to put out their fire? Oh, I got to talk to my sister and tell her to quit eating pork. You're smothering her. And all you got to do, circulate some money, get them the Abrahamic Faith Bible, and say, here, sis, put this under your tree. Add this to your, put this under your tree for Christmas. Add this to your library and your studies. Because I know you love the Lord. And you all about what Jesus do, right? Here, put this under your tree. I love you, sis. Enjoy your pork chop sandwich. You see, I'm not smothering my sister. I'm actually what? I'm actually giving my sister some wind. Oxygen. I want you to be able to breathe better. You understand? That's what's important, Mishpah, when we look at humanity as a whole. We're not sitting here trying to stir up conflict. Oh, because you this religion, I can't talk to you. I hate you because you don't believe that Jesus is resurrected from the dead. You don't believe in the Trinity. Stop all that mumbo jumbo. That's religion, man. And religion will kill you quicker than quick. Let's just get down on the human level, foundational human level. How can I help you breathe better? How can I help influence and enlighten your life, and enhance your life, and amplify your life, human being? Oh, Rabbi, you don't know these people I know. They sit there and they condemn me, they put me down. So what are you going to do? Add more bad to their bad? Or see the good in that person amongst all that bad? But there's some good there. How about look at that? And then do what? And then put some air on it. Put some oxygen on that part. Everybody, lottie-dottie, has some good in it. How about you try to find that part when you, in your assessment of humanity? Every person, lottie-dottie. You may be having an argument. You may be having a disagreement. But there's some things that you guys can come together on. That's for somebody. I don't know if that's somebody. The way you can come together on an agreement. And from that standpoint, you know, respectfully love each other in your disagreement. But too many times we just focus on all the negativity that we can't see the light that's in that person, that candle that they're holding. That light. Because they come from the same creator you come. They come from the same creator of the heavens and the universe that you come from. Created the same kind of way. You just have, and be grateful for this, show gratitude, you just have more tools now. You understand universally better. You're not confined. You have unlimited options. Look at him. You have unlimited options, while some folks are optionless. Do you see the beauty? Give thanks to the Creator right now for that. Of the heavens and the universe. Give thanks to the God of Israel, to the Master Yeshua, that you still don't have him on the cross. But the Master Yeshua is live and well within you, and living and your demonstration and manifestation, and you doing greater things than the Master did. Because he said you could. Just like he said. Beautiful, isn't it, Mishpah? I'm telling you, it's so beautiful when you can grab hold of this and run with it. And just like our Parsha tells us in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 25, at the end of that, as he has said to you. Got to know what he said. Got to know what he said. And then we get into this Parsha. Reah, where it goes on to say, Deuteronomy chapter 11, verses 26, behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. You see? What is Moshe, what is Moses doing? What is Musa doing? He's laying out before the family, before the Hebrews, options. It's just what it is. Listen, you want to learn to make great decisions? I would encourage you to listen and apply the laws of Moses. Because the laws of Moses he's setting out options before the children of Israel, before the Hebrews. He said, look, here are your options. See, he said, look, I'm setting them out before you. You all this day, as descendants of this great family, need to set out options to the rest of the world. The whole of the world. Because there's no Hebrew walking around on the face of this earth that you don't know who's Hebrew from who's not. So you have to put out all the options to the whole of the world. And then let them decide. Let them make a decision based on awesome options. All the options on the table. Matter of fact, unlimited options. You understand? It's beautiful. But you hear folks on YouTube, this very forum where we put the recordings on, this very forum where we put these recordings on, they sit there and say, I can't talk to you because you're not an Israelite. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know this person next to, they're white, they're not a Hebrew. How do you know? You don't know that. Unconscious thinking. My grandmother, I'm telling you, she looked like a white woman, and she was all Negro. 100%. But in Louisiana, she could go into, back when we had segregation, she could go into the white bathroom and use it. No problem whatsoever. But she was what they called a Negro. But she could go into white people, straight hair, white skin. So, I mean, how are you going to sit there and tell me, they white people, you not Israel? That's a bunch of crap. And that's religious mumbo-jumbo. Because all religion want to do is separate, segregate. No, we don't want to do that. The God of Israel, the universe is universal for all people. This is why it's got to be out here for all, Miss Bob. And you got to give it out for all as the light to the world. You can't contain it. And you can't say, well, this person can get in, this person can't. What good is that? You put yourself in the judgment seat, and that's the wrong thing to do. That's not being righteous, by the way. Think about that for a minute, Miss Bahab. I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. Here are the options. Here come the options. Here come the options. Right here before you. Here are the options. They were just described earlier. We just read in Deuteronomy, chapter 11, started at verse 22. As he said, just as he said to you. It's going to happen that same way. Whether folks want to believe it or not. Just as the Creator said, just as the Master, Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, just as Moshe laid it down in pen and paper, scroll and ink, that's just how it's going to happen. Whether we see it in our lifetime or not, that's how it's going down. But you have to realize that there are options available to you. You can choose the blessing side. It's your decision. You can choose the blessing side, but as you know, a lot of people on YouTube don't choose the blessing side. They choose the curse side because that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about, Miss Bahar. Curse, 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 curse. So they're not rolling on unlimited options, I can guarantee you. They're limiting their options. Because the only option is curse, 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 curse. If you're Israel, you curse, 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 curse. Oh, I'm not that Israel. That's your... So what I'm noticing and what I'm noting from the testimonies that are coming in from folks taking charge and being unlimited power is this, is that the secret to their success is this. Just like he said. Just like you said, Akohim, I followed your instruction just like you said. And A, B, C, and D happened just like I wanted it to. Because I followed your instruction just like you said. Think about this for a minute. And this is how it's going to work for you too. All you got to do is rinse and repeat it. Just like you said. Well, you say, well, Rabbi, then I don't need to come here because I could just go and I can read the laws of Moses and do just like you said. You see, but you don't get it all in the Torah. It needs to be explained to you. There's instructions, decrees, commandments, statements. There's a lot of things, and you don't get it because it needs to be explained to you. Yeah, you can take it and run with it, and best of luck to you, and wish for the best. Oh, well, it just means this. I'm interpreting it means this way, and run with it, and then you never get anywhere. And you realize, well, I'm following God. I'm doing what He said, but yet you're not doing what He said. You see? Again, it's because you ignorantly are following the Torah without understanding. You just don't know. And believe me, there are a lot of folks on YouTube doing that. They're still unconscious. They're walking around here unconscious and just, you know, they're alive, but they're dead. Like the Walking Dead, you know? Yeah, they're alive, they're animated, but there's no life within them. They're not living, they're not happy. And they say, well, I'm doing all of these things and nothing's getting any better. Wow. And then they start to feel like, well, oh, this is all it is. I'm just like totally out of options. No, you're not. It goes back to what the law of attraction talks about, and I believe in this rule, is who do you listen to? When you look at the Hebrews, who were they supposed to listen to, Mishpah? Who did the Hebrews listen to? Can anybody tell me that real quick? See, everybody want to adopt our stories, but nobody want to follow them and execute them. When it came to the Hebrews, who were they to listen to? That's key. Who do you listen to? And see, this can be throwing off all the rest of it. You see? They listen to Moses and they listen to Aaron. I'm going to just put it out there. Bam. That's who they listen to. And when listening to him, did everything just like he said happen? I guarantee you it did. So we have to take that same model today. August 31, 2019. Who do we listen to? Hebrews, Israelites, Jews, whatever. Anybody that has adopted the laws of Moses and consider Abraham their father of their way of life, or what they may call faith, is that you must listen to, the pattern hasn't changed. You must listen to Aaron and his sons. Aaron's no longer here, but his sons are. HaKohen is a son of Aaron. HaKohen, Simon Altek. To be clear, for you listening via YouTube and are not live with us in this social media forum. I'm telling you. I'm talking to you as a watcher and a witness. And as an executor of the words of the son of Aaron. In my life, I did exactly like he said, and I continue to reap the benefits in every aspect of my life. Whatever I want, I got it. But again, who do you listen to? That's key. We all in these past couple of months have been given great instruction. Instruction is actually priceless, Mr. Bahal. This is priceless instruction. You cannot put a dollar figure on it, and I know all of you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is priceless instruction that, if applied just like he said, and to God for you writing these emails and coming in, because I'm seeing the same commonality. I did it just like you said, Akohi. and it worked. Whatever they wanted, they got it. Whatever they desired, they got it. Whatever they want fixed, it was fixed. Baruch Hashem. Miracles made. Baruch Hashem. It's beautiful. I give thanks to the Creator of the heavens and the universes. I give thanks to the Kohen in the gate. Show gratitude with attitude and with energy. That's real. You cannot tell me that the Kohen is not the Kohen. I know that. Whether you all believe it or not, that's on you. Just like the Master Yeshua said, oh, you of little faith. Oh, you that don't believe. Blessed are those that believe and haven't seen. You have seen, yet you don't believe. Paraphrase. So we all have a one-upper. It's because we have like a blessed card. Because we haven't seen, yet we believe. We have a blessing on top of a blessing on top. I mean, tears are blessing. Baruch Hashem, unlimited, infinite. So why am I going to get on YouTube and say that I'm cursed? And associate and cling to that identifier of curse? I'm not going to cling to that. I'm going to cling to the Master Yahweh and what He said. Just like He said. And to get clarity on just like He said, I'm running to the Kohen. I'm knocking on the door, sending them an email. Got him on the WeChat. Kohen, how do I do this? What do I need to do? Give me a formula so I can execute. And I'm going to do it just like you said. How many of you got elephants this week? These past 6 days of labor, you went and got you some elephants? Anybody? Put up an E if that's you. You actually went out and did just like our Kohen said and got you some elephants. Maybe more than one. How many of you went out and got some camels? Put up a C if that's you. If you went out and you got you some camels. Just like our Kohen said. You see, these things are very, very important. You have to do just like He said. You see? It's important. It's very, very important. Just like He said, it's so important to your success, to your blessings. Because everybody claims blessing in the air, but what's blessing in action? They don't see it. You see what I'm saying? When they say it every day of the week, forget that air stuff. I'm all about action. My wife told me the other day, I thought this was quite instructional. She said, honey, you tell me that you love me, but I want you to show me that you love me. Put your love, and I want to see your love. Don't tell me that you love me. I'm like, wow, okay. So then I began to pull out the list. Let me show you, let me count the ways that I love you. And she realized, oh yeah, you do love me. You see? But I thought that was a very, very fair statement for my wife to make. Right? How many of you agree? Honey, I don't want you to tell me that you love me. Show me that you love me. Boy, that's some Hebrew in her, isn't it? What do you mean? She from China. She got some Hebrew in her. I guarantee you. With that kind of attitude. And all of these principles that our Kohen, this instruction I've received from the Kohen, my wife, that's like, she already knew about that. She said, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, this stone will keep this away. And this, I was like, wow. She's clued up. I mean, they're clued up in the East, well, I'm telling you, they're clued up. Believe you me. So you must understand these. This is important thing. When our Kohen tells you to do something. Now, again, what is the Kohen doing? He's presenting, like Moses, he's giving you options. You want blessing? Yes, our Kohen want blessing. Here's the options. You must do this for your blessing. You don't want blessings? Here's your option. Then don't do it. If you don't do what the Kohen is telling you to do, just like he said, then you can anticipate no blessing. The opposite of blessing. It means that you don't have. You're not going to be successful. But you get frustrated with yourself because you're saying, oh, I want the blessing, God give me blessing. You've been given the instruction to do it, the execution to do it, how you need to do it, yet you don't go and do it, and yet you wonder why there's no blessing. But yet you're screaming out to God, why? And God is telling you down from the heavens, from the universes, do. He's telling you do. And you saying, why? He's saying do. Forget why. Don't make this difficult, Miss Barker, because it's quite easy. But it requires you getting the options, what you have, but then beginning to decide if you're going to execute on it. You understand? That's what's important. You have to make this decision within your consciousness, within self, subconscious. Because God, by golly, I'm going to do it. Come Shiloh or Sheol, I'm not making up any excuses. It's done. This is my way of life. This is how I'm living. I'm doing it. Let me give you all a testimony. I'm telling you the power in it. And a lot of you thinking it has to be these. You got to go for the big, most outlandish type things that you think, could never happen, but I'm going to just do it anyway. But you can just first start out very simple. Listen, my daughter, she's very good at playing the piano. The teachers at school know that, she can play the piano very, very well. She likes to play piano. It's what she likes to do, blah, blah, blah. She likes to play the piano. So he's like, look, I got this you used to teach piano lessons in the university. He retired now, and I'd like for you to send her to class. I said, no, I'm not sending her to no class. Because, first of all, these classes are way across town, and we'd have to drive, way across town, and logistics just didn't work out. I was like, nope, she's not taking these classes. And he looked with his son and was like, what do you mean? Your daughter's very good. She can take these classes. And she'll do good. It'll benefit her. She likes taking these classes, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. I said, nope, we're not doing it. And then, I began to tell myself, I said, I'm going to manifest this. I said, we're not going to go to that music teacher. If my daughter is this good, because you know what? My daughter is just like Moses said. My daughter is above all these, mighty. She's mightier than these, and will possess greater nations and mightier than herself. So these nations are going to have to come to her. She don't have to go to them. This great teacher that teaches music class in college and piano lessons in the universities. No, my daughter's not going to go to her. That teacher's going to come there. If they want it bad, that teacher's going to come to her. We're not going to this classes, this commute and doing all this driving. And, with Uber, I'm not putting my daughter in no Uber and have her drop in. No. So it was no all the way around for me, right? Well, my daughter comes to me last night. Oh, Dad, guess what? The greatest thing happened to me today. The music teacher's going to come to my high school and teach me these piano lessons during my lunch break. You know why? I manifested that. I don't know this music teacher from Adam. But again, I manifested that. And I know all of you. You see, again, the experiences, you may say, well, that's nothing. Oh, that's a big thing to me. That's a big thing. That's a super big thing. Because I know that this works. I didn't give up and say, no music. I said, you know what? The music teacher's going to come to my daughter. My daughter has to be in school at that time anyway. And the music teacher is going to come to her. My goodness. You all don't understand it, but that's quite powerful to me. That is very powerful. And I give thanks to it. Because I manifested that. I just said, no music class for you. Da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what matters. My daughter loves playing, and I'm going to encourage you all to understand things this way. Do what you love what you do. My daughter loves playing the piano. And guess what attracted to her? The music teacher coming to her. Very experienced music teacher. You see, this music teacher, I already see it played out. It's already manifested. This music teacher is going to open up many doors for my daughter to go to a great university just off of a music scholarship, playing the piano. Imagine that. Think about that for a minute. You see, there's a bigger picture to the whole thing. You understand what I'm saying? Schools are going to be falling over my daughter to come to their university on a full-paid scholarship. And she can study whatever she wants. Maybe she'll study music because she likes music. That's love what you do what you love. I'm infusing that. I'm empowering that. I'm going to say something very important. He said, yeah, you can come to me. And before I used to stand and make it happen. I would do a few things and make it happen. I'm paraphrasing. Now, you come to me, I'll still stand for you, but I'm going to give you some action things that you have to do on your end. I'll do one thing, you'll do three. What is he doing right there? It's the title of this room. He's empowering you. Empowering yourself. You must empower. He's empowering you. So when I was able to attract that music, this great, accomplished piano teacher to come to my daughter's school and teach her piano lessons during her lunch break, I empowered myself to do that. Empowerment. You see, I am alternative energy. I am positive energy. You all can do the same thing. Look at things in your life and begin to attract and empower yourself to attract them to come to you. You don't go to them. They'll come to you. It may be the most asinine way that they come to you, but they'll come to you in a way that you just can't expect and imagine. You would never imagine that money coming in that way. You would never imagine that relationship happening in that way. Never imagine. Some of you imagine, oh, I'm going to meet that husband, and we're going to be on the beach, and I'm going to be walking on the beach, and the waves will be coming in, and I'll see him from a distance, and he'll come to me with his arms open wide, and I'll fall into his arms. That's how you imagine it. But the universe, you're attracted. The universe will bring it in this way. Yeah, I was picking up that pizza at Pizza Hut, and I saw that man, and he dropped his pizza, and I picked it up, and it was love at first sight, Rabbi. And Domino's Pizza. You understand what I mean? So it could just come. It doesn't matter how it comes in. The how doesn't matter. What matters is, what's the mission accomplished? Are you all getting it, Mishpah? I'm getting ready to close. I'm closing up. But you have to do it just like he said, Mishpah. Simha saying, we can tell the people as an example. Remember, depression, which is energy, can chase away positive energy. The RSAHK, the Holy Spirit of Hashem, from action to health. So encourage them, and the Spirit never leaves any person. So encourage them not to block. The Ruachs help being depressed. Say to them, don't worry, be happy, be of good cheer. Absolutely, Simha. Words have so much power. They have power. They can be negative power or it can be positive power. That's why you have to watch what you say. People come through this forum. They'll come through this room saying some very vicious things. Wicked, evil, just downright hateful things. You just blow that stuff off. You see, because if you let those words, those negative energy empower you, and this is why we cut them off early. You have moderators in the room, we cut them off early. Just get them out and save them from themselves, really. Because just like I quoted, he said, when those people, all that negativity was coming to him in the story, he said, all the negativity come my way, I tell him, be quiet. I don't want to hear that. Get away from me. I don't want to hear that. It's going to happen. Just the way I want it to happen. Don't try to discourage me. That don't work. Discouragement don't work for me either. That just doesn't work. Your discouragement actually empowers me even more. It gives me more power, believe it or not. And I tell you, I guess what in today's terms they would call that killing them with kindness, right? But I tell you, that just eats away at a wicked, vicious, evil, hateful person, right? When you sit there and you tell them, man, I love you even more, man. I love you for your opinion. Because that's just making me super strong. How many of you realize that in a relationship? You'll have an argument, right? Well, one side is trying to argue, right? And you sit there and say, no. And you're just so peaceful and calm. And yet, the more peaceful and calm that you are, the what? The more angry they get. And you're just so super peaceful. And you're super calm. You say, yeah, I appreciate your opinion. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah, and you don't get to their level because you're totally opposite. They're going one way, you're going another, and they can't stand it because they want confrontation. So they want you to match them bit for bit, word for word, phrase for phrase. And you say, no, I love you through this. I understand what you're saying, but we can handle this in a civil way. We can be two adults and sit here and talk like two adults. I'm not going to step down to your level. I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm going to say it this way. We need to be calm. We need to just sit down and talk like two grown folks. And we can get, they hate that. They want to throw all these expletives at you and blah, 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 and you this. And then before you know it, they'll start picking up things and throwing it at you. I'm talking to you from experience, by the way. Before you know, your cell phone broke. And they're trying to get you to get angry about a cell phone that you have insurance on anyway. So if they break it, you can just get another one. And then that don't work. And then they start slamming doors. That don't work. So they do everything to try to rile you up, but it just doesn't work anymore because you are peace. And then what you have to finally end up doing is just packing your little to-go bag and maybe go and stay at the Holiday Inn or the Motel 8, Motel 6, Motel 8. That's what you have to do. Separate yourself from that. Right? Because nobody going to be throwing stuff at me. I'm going to just sit there and say, oh, I'm just this little sheep, blah, 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 stab me in the back, slap me on this cheek, you can slap me on the other. Oh, no. Rabbi Kefa just going to get in his car and get on his merry way, pack me a little to-go bag, and I'll go stay at Motel. No problem. And keep my shalom. Keep my peace. That's what's very important. We always have to bring positivity. That's the part about being the light to the nations. If you keep it positive, you bring it positive. Yeah, there are going to be times where you lose it. Collect yourself back up and get back on the right footing. You human beings, Mishpah, Moses lost it. What makes you think you're not going to lose it at times? You get to that festivity meter point to where they piss you off beyond festivity. How many of you have been there before? Festivity meter, it kicks up and it is on. Simba is gone. Now you're dealing with Lion King. You know what I mean? And that has to happen sometimes because you cannot allow people just to walk over you. You're nobody's doormat. Oh, you're just a little sheep, so I can just kick you in the backside and you won't do anything. Well, last time I checked, sheep can bite too. Don't get it twisted. Don't take the kindness of a Hebrew for their weakness because you'll be kicked out of the ring. You'll be kicked out of the ring, and just like Akoni said, and you won't feel bad about it. So, again, it's so very important that we have to set the standard. You are the standard bearer for where you are in the nation. And what kind of standard you set is based upon you. But I would encourage you all, as you continue to strive towards your affirmations, strive towards your manifestation of your affirmations and your attracting of the things that you desire in this life, is to always know that you have options. You have options. Don't ever give up. You do have options. If you don't realize your options, that's when you get with the Kohen, and he'll open up a whole new world of options to you. The Torah of Moses is a whole new world of options that you never imagined. I know all of you see the Torah now, and it's so much freedom. Yet, as a Christian, you saw a Torah just a bunch of laws. Am I right? I used to be there. I was like, man, this ain't nothing but a bunch of laws, blah, 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 blah. This person begat that person, blah, 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 blah. What good is that going to do me? It's just a bunch of... No, it's a whole new way of life. It's so expanded and so free. So much freedom within the confines of the Torah. So many freedoms. You can't even imagine. And yet we're just scratching the surface. It's going to continue to get better and better. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. Remember, you do have options. I'm going to title this lecture Options because you do have options. But again, to make your decisions, you must do exactly like he said. He meaning the Kohen. You must do it. You must follow through. So, this 6 days of labor, I'm going to encourage you all again. Go out, get you some camels. Go out. I got this great picture of a big old camel coming. It's a portrait. I'm going to put it on my wall. It's due to come in sometime next month. Get you some elephants. Get these things in your home. They're important, Mishpah. They're important. What great revelation I heard from, King Solomon. He had in his zoo, I knew he had a zoo, but he had elephants in his zoo. My goodness, what did he get? Had elephants just to ride them? I mean, I got great revelation from my Kohen on that today. Luxury class is just one Joe Cool camel. Just not one Joe Cool camel. I get that luxury class. Yeah, get you some camels, man. Get elephants. For you, especially you that want a relationship, you get you some elephants and put them all up in your bedroom. Get them all in your bedroom. Yeah, so do that and you'll do yourself a great service. I'm going to turn it back over to our Kohen. We'll leave it open for any questions at this time as well. You all have a great Shabbat, a great 6 days of labor ahead. Love you. I leave you all in the wonderful hands of the Creator of the heavens and the universes. Shabbat shalom, 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 Mishpah. Over to you, our Kohen.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. So the elephants, if you put that in your room, that will help build your love relationship, and it's good for the children as well. Now, in the book of Deuteronomy, Kefa spoke about this verse earlier, which was the chapter 11, and it was a verse 24. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours. That statement is absolutely brilliant statement in the Torah. It basically says soles of your feet is a euphemism for your imagination. It says wherever your imagination will go, that place shall be yours. Now that came right out of the mouth of the God of Israel. I didn't make it up. I didn't conjure it up. It's there. It's in every Bible in the world. That from our holy books, doesn't matter what translation you use, it's there. Which means that wherever your imagination goes and you desire to conquer that place, it will be yours. Nothing can stop you from having it. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't get this or you can't get that. Now, moving forward, I want to give you a little testimony of what a Kohen can and can't do, or can and can do. There was a man, a young man, who was probably in Facebook, probably on my page somewhere, and he came to me one day and said to me, he's talking about bloodlines. And I told him, he's a young guy, I told him I don't know him too much, all I knew is a young man, and I didn't know much about him other than he's from Germany. And I said to him, stop worrying about bloodlines, you got a whole life in front of you. Go and purchase my book, The Perfect Law, and study it, and that will change your whole life. I don't know why you're chasing bloodlines for. Anyway, he kept coming back, asking me questions. And one day he comes, 2 days ago he comes, about 2 to 3 days ago. I said, look, I'm going to shut you down if you continue to pester me. I'm going to have to shut you out. So, he goes. Then one day he comes. He goes, Rabbi, can I have some time, please? Do you have a few minutes for me? I said, I'll only give you 5 minutes. What is your question? He goes, I don't know what tribe I'm from, and I don't know where my father is from, and I don't know where my family is from. How do I tell what tribe I'm from? I said, there are ways to tell. There are characteristics, and with those we can tell what tribe you are from. And then he goes, but what tribe am I from, Rabbi? And I don't know this man. I've never seen him. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know his family. I don't know nobody. So I said, okay. To put this man out of his misery, I fired a question in the heaven. What tribe is this man from? And the answer that came back was he is from Benjamin tribe. I told him, you're from the Benjamin tribe. And go away and leave me in peace and go live in peace yourself. Then he goes to me, he goes away, he comes back, he goes to me, but how do you know, Rabbi, I'm from the tribe of Benjamin? I said to him, first you come to me, you knock on my door and you ask me what tribe I'm from. Then when I tell you, you ask me, how do I know what tribe I'm from? So I said, okay, I'll tell you that as well. I said, your uncles, your family, they're all tall people. All of them are tall. But I said, you may not be tall because your father married into Judah. So I told him that. I said, now go away and get lost. I've had enough of you answering these stupid questions. They have no relevance to your life. You got a whole world in front of you. You can do yourself a great favor by doing something for yourself, and yet you're constantly concerned about what tribe. So I said, today I've told you what tribe you're from. Now I want you to go away and focus on your life and do good for yourself. Stop, asking the same question 15 times over in different versions. Then he goes to me, then he sends me a picture of his uncle. He sends me a picture of his father. He says, this is my uncle, this is my father. And he says, yes, they are very tall. He says, you can see that one of my uncles slightly dark, one of my uncles slightly light. He could pass off for a white man. And so he said, well, can Benjamin be both white and black? I started laughing. I said, of course they can be white and black. I said, are you stupid or what? Haven't you got any sense? I said, we married into many different people. We married and we mixed, and of course we're going to produce black and white. We're going to produce all colors. And then he says, okay, Rabbi, and then he goes, And so my point is this: without even looking at that man's family, I didn't know his uncles were tall, his father was tall or not, but I asked the question, and the heavens responded. Now my point is this simply, that a lot of people out there are chasing about what tribes they're from. That is totally irrelevant question, because in the scheme of things, you should be asking, do I have the desires that I need to meet in my life? Do I have the right husband? Do I have the right wife? Do I have the right business? Am I going to have a happy business for myself? I'm going to have a happy family. These are the important questions. But then maybe somewhere along the line, maybe that question sits on the back of your head, what tribe I'm from. And of course, when God desires, you will receive an answer for that as well. But my point is, you should not be dwelling on what tribe I'm from 24 times 365 days a year, because it's just annoying and it's not helpful. Because you can definitely ask the question, and maybe you should, and then you should wait for the answer from God. When He tells you what tribe you're from, then you will know. If it's really something that was bothering this young man, he's probably a young guy, was probably not that old in age, he's probably under 20, and he was worried about what tribe he's from. And I said to him, your father married into Judah, and he then said that my mother is short and I am short. Do you see what I mean? So I said to him, okay, fair enough. So I gathered that, or I said, I already know that, so fair enough. I said, you know your tribe. Now I want you to go away, and I want you to do what God has given you to better your life, please. Don't keep focusing on one question for the rest of your life. And then he went, and then he told me, he said he's from Germany, and this, I don't know why this question was bothering him for so long, and he'd been asking that question to everybody he met, every other, I guess, preacher, pastor, whoever he met, and he wasn't getting an answer until finally he came to me. And I had to correct him and give him the answer and correct him at the same time, that he cannot dwell on this for the rest of his life. He's got a whole life in front of him. He's going to get married, he's going to get his degree, and if he's studying, he's going to do all sorts of things in his life that are going to be so beneficial for him. So it's very important that, I'm not saying it's wrong to ask the question, I'm saying that don't dwell on it all the time. Don't make that your focus, because your focus should be many other things in your life. Your focus should be happiness for yourself, happiness for your family, happiness for your children, happiness for your spouse, for your parents. All these are things that if you focus your things on these positive aspects, then other things will come into your life as well. So very important to understand that. And so with that, I like to say that unless you have a question, I'm going to close the room. Anybody has a question for this day? Okay, so no questions, that's great. And Rabbi Kefa, Todah for the title. I will, could you please send me your, because I wasn't in the room earlier, so Rabbi Kefa, if you could send me your recording for the part that you spoke, then I can add that to the recording I have. Okay, so that will be great. Have a great Shabbat and great week ahead over there in the European world. I can tell you one thing. Let me make a little prophecy or prediction for you here. The prophecy prediction I'm going to make here is this: that our president is going to make the biggest deal with the United Kingdom very soon, and it will be one of the biggest deals that we're going to see, and it's going to benefit both countries, the UK and the United States, and it will be to do with oil. It will be to do with energy. Okay, so have a great day. And prosperous week ahead, and may the Master of the universe, Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, be with you wherever you go.